This is the fourth guest episode of the Creative Genesis podcast, and we called it 4th AD. Check it out. You are listening to the Creative Genesis podcast by Winfluence Media, the show that speaks to professionals in the creative field and entrepreneurs, asking them how they got started so that you too can begin your own journey. If you're looking to step up your journey as a creative or entrepreneur, then you are in the right place. So stay tuned and follow the Creative Genesis podcast, the stepping stone to your success.
Yes, again, I will say the same thing. It's a business. Please understand, it's really important. I'm stressing on it again and again and again. It's a business. Please understand and accept that it's a business. And business is not a wrong term.
Yep.
It's a very positive term.
Yep.
As against a lot of people, the way they portray it.
So true. Hello and welcome. You are tuned into the Creative Genesis podcast with your host, Ryan Lobo. Today I interview Naresh Shetty. He is the founder of Literature Studios, one of the few entrepreneurs that I know in this photography field. Truly, he speaks about his experiences and all of the things he learned on his journey into becoming an entrepreneur, or as he says, a wannabe entrepreneur. He shares amazing tips and amazing mindsets that every creative person needs to know if you're going to get into business or self-employment. So this episode is really going to be useful for all photographers, videographers, graphic designers, all the people in the visual arts, or any entrepreneur who wants to get into the creative field. Check it out. Content is everything these days, and with the rise of real content, businesses now more than ever need to start employing high converting content for their businesses. Listen to this quote. Without marketing, there will be no sales. And without sales, there will be no money. Without money, there will be no business. Marketing is the name of the game. Are you a business based in Goa? Well, if you are, then we are the marketing partner for all of your requirements. From shooting real content to setting up your very own podcast, to shooting and editing professional face-to-camera content for your business, we have the most professional setup for your video production requirements. If you need content on a monthly basis, we are the agency for you. Contact us at videoproductiongoa@gmail.com or WhatsApp us on 7083-401-793 to get to know us better. You can even watch our presentation video on winfluencemedia.in. That's winfluencemedia.in. Winfluence Media, media that wins. Now let's get back into the show. I am in conversation with Naresh Shetty. Let's dive right into it. So Naresh, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you.
I've been waiting to have you for a while, but even though I interviewed you on like the pop-up podcast, I believe this interview is going to be way more in depth. Over there, we touched a little bit about what you do, but I'm really happy that you finally made it. I mean, we've been meeting each other,
of course,
very often nowadays, but
so both of us are busy, equally busy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's good, for good reasons.
Yeah, exactly. So, how long have you known each other? What, 2 years?
Maybe.
Do you remember how we got in touch?
Yeah.
How?
I gave you a project rather.
Okay.
Of
Being the barbecue man?
No. Way before that.
Really?
There was a project and you did it, but it didn't go through, unfortunately. So there was what was that? We had to record something on a GoPro. And
You're talking about the one where
you wanted to. I mean, somebody was supposed to
just
walk
past these
landscapes.
places. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one test to be done, and
Correct.
this was for some smart, what's that, treadmill.
Yeah, I
And there's
remember.
a
That was
screen of
you.
that. Yeah, that was me, of course.
I didn't know it was I remember that project because it was so interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting, but
And
even we didn't get it.
Yeah.
So whatever happened, so
I wonder whether they're still
they must be doing it, but they were a startup.
okay.
There are lots of people doing that now.
Yeah?
Yeah. And
So let us
let's see.
so what the project was is that you got to mount a camera on somebody and the camera has to record him walking through famous places, like places in Goa. And the challenge was that you should not know that it's on a person. It should be so smooth. That was a challenge, So I was actually thinking of getting a gimbal stabilizer,
Right.
stuff like that. But you got to walk for like 3 hours continuously, so it's quite a challenge.
So
But
it looks simple, but it
no,
was,
when it comes to video, there are some
there
things
are
that-
lots of challenges there.
Yeah.
So the path should have been decided right in the
Right.
beginning. You
Yeah.
can't go and try to figure out, okay, where do I go, left or right?
yeah.
So
Nice.
it was unique.
That was
but
a.
yeah,
You
that
came to
was-
me with an interesting challenge. That's nice. I always like this field has so many challenges,
Of course.
And I feel very privileged to be in a challenging field where I get different problems on different days.
Can I just say something about
Go
why
ahead.
this field is challenging?
Tell me.
Okay, so let's say, what's the most complicated thing in the universe? Which is a way of measuring almost everything. Okay.
Complicated thing on the universe, way of measuring everything.
It's light,
It's light. Okay.
right? Everything's measured in light, light years. Everything is about light. Time travel is about light somewhere.
Weight is not about light.
Yeah?
Weight.
But light is
Yeah.
one of
see,
the. I mean,
for-
there
for-
will be exceptions. I'm
Right,
not denying
right.
that, because there are so many. There's gravity. There is.
Right.
There are black holes and
Right.
stuff like that. But light usually does a lot of things. You start your day with light. You end it without light.
Yeah.
Right. And then you look at the stars. You want light everywhere.
Yep.
Okay. And then we are in the business of capturing light.
Yes.
Right. So that's what makes it interesting, because light doesn't behave the way
Exactly.
our brain behaves. I mean, we understand physics with a very limited set of instructions, or
Yep.
it's limited.
Mhm.
But light has a huge. I mean, the gamut is big. The
It's
spectrum is
massive,
big.
yeah.
And when you try to capture something really small out of it, there are like millions of possibilities.
Correct.
And that's what makes it interesting.
It's very interesting. Like,
So,
so like at my church also, I was speaking to my pastor.
let there be light.
Yeah, let there be
It
light.
started with that,
Exactly.
right?
That's how the Bible starts. So I was speaking to him. I was telling him, we need to have an image that is branded, right?
Yep.
And we look at my stage, the church stage, and I say to him, what is the most important thing about being on that stage when it comes to production, visual production? He said, yeah, it's the camera. I said, the camera is a very tiny part. It's the light.
Of course.
If you don't get your light right, it doesn't matter if you use an RE or a Panavision, which
True.
costs like hundreds and thousands of US dollars.
Absolutely true.
It's still going to look rubbish. But if you have good light, everything is solved. So let's get to the interview.
Sure.
This was just like a warm-up.
Warm up, introduction.
Can have some chai. But Naresh, now I know you quite well, and I'm going to get to know you even better. Yesterday I found out something new about you.
Really?
Which you called for yourself. We are not going to talk about that. He called himself something, but
Censored.
but I got to ask this question for our viewers. Suppose I'd never met you.
Okay.
Who are you, Naresh? Well, who are you?
It's all right.
I know.
Okay, that's. I didn't expect that.
Good.
Suddenly,
But I
who
did
are
ask you this on the podcast.
You did, but I have a bad memory.
That's okay.
But I hope that the answer
No, it's
is
a very
match.
tough question. It's okay to feel unprepared.
So I am first a human being who has a brain which can do anything, and I choose to solve some problems.
Very good.
I can call myself an entrepreneur. The funniest thing, I call a wannabe entrepreneur. So like,
I
I'm
love your
not there
take on
yet.
that.
I'm not there yet,
Uh-huh.
but I am trying to be, and I'm trying to solve a problem for a certain set of society, which is the visual artist. And in the process, I meet people, very interesting people like you, like so many others that I've met. And then I always gather something out of them.
Right.
Maybe there's a small piece, maybe there's a big piece sometimes.
Right.
Okay, so I'm also a stockhouse of all that experiences.
Yes.
And I choose to let go or, deliver or hand over some experiences whenever I meet somebody.
Yep.
So that's what I believe human beings should be doing.
Mhm.
So share your experiences,
Yep.
better the living, make sure that people live happy.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, and I guess that's an important part of an entrepreneur as well. So
Mhm.
that's why I call myself an entrepreneur. But otherwise, I started off as a photographer. Then I was an art director professionally. I was also a fitness consultant.
Wow.
But
that I never
yeah,
knew.
but right
Okay.
now don't. I mean, I'm pure a lot into business, so I don't look fit. um, that's what some faces of mine.
Awesome.
I'm a husband. I'm a son. Uske aage kya?
Lovely. I love that you said that as entrepreneurs or whatever, we have to share our experiences.
Very much.
My life has been so blessed because other people have shared their experiences with me.
Yep.
And they have shared their wisdom, their knowledge, their failings, their flaws. And there's a saying that a smart man learns from his mistakes,
Yep.
but a wise man learns from other people's
Others'
mistakes.
Yes.
And sharing these mistakes that we made is so important, I believe.
So about mistakes, I had a very interesting thing.
Right.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni, everybody knows him, of course, is our hero. He said it once: either there is success or there are learnings.
Yes.
So he doesn't use the word mistakes,
That's
no
amazing.
failures,
Yeah.
right? So either you have succeeded with whatever you know,
Right.
or you have picked up another art or another set of information which will help you succeed next time.
Yep.
Brilliant,
So
right?
true.
So
Yeah.
that's probably what makes Dhoni Dhoni.
That's true. And yesterday I was speaking to a colleague of mine, and I was talking about this experience where I was really angry with this one person. And I felt betrayed. I felt whatever. But if I really think back on it, I think in the end, everything worked out for my good.
True.
And because of the mistakes that person made, I am today on this path. I was affected by it. I was affected quite badly. But today I'm on this path, and
Sure.
now I'm grateful to see the bigger picture.
Awesome.
That these small mistakes look so bad and dangerous
Yep.
and horrible for your career or for your personal life. But if you look at the bigger picture, they are a blessing
Of course.
because they probably put you on another path.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I really like what you said. So this podcast is also, I want it to be a repository or a documentation of people's lives, their experiences,
Yeah.
and what people can learn from them.
Sure.
Now today
Of course.
people are going to learn so much from you.
I hope so.
Yeah, so much from
I
you.
hope so. I have something to share.
Yes. See, it's just being with you, Naresh, or being with me, or being with other people, iron sharpens iron.
True.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we learn from each other.
Yeah. Of course.
You being with me, you learn from me.
Of
I
course
being
I do.
with you,
Of course.
I learn from you. And it's a beautiful thing.
It's like everyone has something to do.
Exactly. Every single person has something to share. Every single person has something that is admirable.
Yes.
There is
very
nobody
much.
who is absolutely pathetic
True.
and useless and can't do anything. Even if you look like there's this person who is not fully mentally okay.
Mhm.
But he really looks up to me. He calls me and he asks me to pray for him, and I tell him to do things, he doesn't do it, and I get upset with him. But I can't blame him.
True.
But one thing I've noticed about him is he never gives up. And that's admirable,
course.
and that humbles me. I'm like, this guy never gives up.
Yeah.
Even though he's mentally unsound and he's not all the way there, and you can notice it by just speaking to him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't give up. And that humbled me, Then I thought to myself, you have to love this man.
Of course.
You have to care for him.
True.
You have to pray for him. Because he never gives up. And that's
Awesome.
beautiful.
That's beautiful. Of course.
That's
Maybe he
beautiful.
doesn't know that there is something called giving up.
Yeah,
Because he never learned that.
maybe,
Right?
yeah.
So there's an experience I want to share again.
Yeah.
This guy called Sandeep Maheshwari. So I'm going to I've learned a lot from these people, and I'm going to quote their name.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Because it doesn't belong to me. Right. So there was the story he told on one
Who's
stage.
Sandeep
Sandeep Maheshwari is an influencer. He's the founder of Images Bazaar.
Okay.
He's one of the most beautiful souls currently on internet, I believe.
Really?
Because he's got his charm. He's got a way of delivering the message and stuff. You should look up, and it'll be interesting.
Yep.
So he gave a story. He told a story on the stage. He said there were two friends in a village, and they would play. They were small kids. One of them was weak, and the other guy was strong. So they were playing, and they went into the jungle in a village, so somewhere where they're not supposed to go. They went exploring, and there was a well, and the strong boy fell down in the well. The other kid who was weak. He didn't know what to do. He was like, the only thing that was scaring him was like, if I go back home and tell, I'm going to get whacked by mom and uncle and everybody around. So he just said, okay, what do I do? He goes, he finds a rope, throws it down, and pulls that boy out. Okay, so happy ending? No, the story starts here. So then they go back to their village, and they're late, right? Because of all this.
Yeah.
So everybody says, where were you? What happened? And they don't know. They couldn't lie or anything. They said, okay, this happened.
Right.
My friend fell in the water, in the well, and I pulled him out. And everybody started laughing at the kid.
All right.
Right? Don't make up stories.
Okay,
That's what
because
they
he
told.
was the weak kid.
Yeah, he was a weak kid. So then, they whacked him anyway, unfortunately. But they kept asking him, tell me the truth, where were you? Did you go somewhere where you're not supposed to and all? Then they took the kids to that, the older, wiser man in the village. And the wise man asked him, okay, kya hua beta batao?
Yeah.
So he said, this is what happened. The boy fell, I pulled him out with a rope. And then the old man just looked at the villagers and said, bata to raha hai. He's telling what happened. So he's like, but how can he do it? The whole village was like, how can he do it? He's quite weak. He's not even able to lift probably a heavy pumpkin or something. How can he pull out a kid? So the moral of the story, he cuts the story here, or maybe I don't remember. The moral of the story is, when the boy fell in the water, in the whole jungle, there was nobody to tell that kid that you can't do it. So he's like, that's it. If I can't, nobody told me that I can't do it. He just believed it. He pulled himself.
Yes. That's powerful.
What a powerful story.
Yes.
Right? So most of them, that kid, the challenged kid that you were talking about, probably nobody told him that you're supposed to stop.
Yep.
He keeps going on and on.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. I was very so recently I had a barbecue party for my my business
You're known
colleagues.
to do barbecues, is it?
Yeah, I'm like the barbecue man everywhere.
So the first time we actually interacted was when he offered to do a barbecue at my party.
Yes.
And a lot of my friends know him like, hey, barbecue man.
Yeah, I love barbecue. So I invited them here. We had a business meeting and I was making barbecue for them. And we all started talking about, like I started this game kind of thing, well, gamified version of getting to know each other. And I asked, everyone was asking each other questions. So I said, everyone can ask one question to the other person.
Awesome.
Okay? So everyone's round was, last was me. And this one very senior architect who is part of my circle, she asked me, Ryan, why do you do what you do? I thought this is very strange. Like, I don't think I'm doing anything great. But she's like, you push yourself, you're out there. Why do you do it? I never expected that question. But I told her one thing. I said, I didn't know what to say, but the only answer I had was, first of all, I don't think I'm doing anything spectacular. But I said, when I was working in Saudi in the oil field as a completion engineer, earning 3-4 lakhs a month, and I was going to get married, and I believe that God told me to quit my job and come and live in India. I said to her that I believe if God told me to quit such a lucrative job and a career, then He has something better for me.
Of course.
So I don't know what that better thing is. Maybe, I don't know what it is. I'm still exploring, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the answer. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I love the fact that when you encourage a person, you know, that's really powerful. I want this podcast to encourage people that you can do it. You know, like I was speaking to another friend recently, and he was going through this certain struggle. And he told me, every time I go through the struggle, I just feel defeated and feel like a loser. And I went through the same thing. I used to go to the same thing, and I told him, you know, this man came and told me, you're going through this struggle. From now on, I want to tell you, don't worry about it. It doesn't mean anything. Go ahead. Don't let that guilt stop you.
True.
And because of those words of his, I started this podcast.
Yep.
Because I've been waiting to start this podcast for so long. But I was just like, I can't do it, and who will, you know. And I started this podcast. Now, this podcast is not big yet. But I believe it's opening a lot of doors.
It will.
And
of course.
Thanks to you, we got a really famous actress coming today. So, you know, it's amazing. That I think we need to encourage people more.
Of course, we need to.
We need to. Okay, now let's get back to your story. So, what would you say was your niche in your business? In which area would you say you specialize? So, we haven't introduced. So, Naresh, can you introduce your company and what you guys do?
Okay. My name is Naresh. I run a company called Literature Production. Literature Production is a solution provider and aggregation platform for visual artists. So in short, in local terms, we find work for artists.
काम चाहिए तो हमारे
काम
पास।
चाहिए तो हमारे पास आओ. We have something for you. That's what we are supposed to do, and we are building an infrastructure network. So we will be the production house for maybe stuff like what you're doing. And if someone wants to do it tomorrow, okay, they can come to us. We'll be able to help them out with setting it up or renting it out anywhere in India.
Right.
So we are present in about 70 cities in India. So you need a shoot done in a random city, let's say Bokaro, I can get it done. Like Literature can get it done for you.
Nice,
Right.
nice. So your niche is being an aggregator for, in other words, creators,
For creators,
for visual creators.
we are trying to narrow it down to visual creators.
Right.
Like,
Right. I think that makes more
yeah,
sense.
because the creative field is really huge. You know, you can start at graphics to painting to go to music
Yeah, it's huge.
and stuff. So, but we just stuck to what I currently call it as equipment-based creation, like
Right.
photographers, video editors, and everybody surrounding it, like the makeup artist, the hairstylist,
Have you gotten
fashion
there yet?
stylist. No, we're in the process.
On the
We're in the
process.
process, but we've done something here and there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not far. We've done it. But
I think
not
y'all are
to
doing a
level.
great job in the photography field.
Photography, yes, we
Y'all
are
have
kind
cracked
of cracked it now.
Yeah.
Right, I can get an assignment executed the way the client needs it. Now we are moving into videos. We're trying to build an army of other talents, as
Yep.
the way I said, you know, hairstylist, makeup artist, studios, production engineers. We're trying to also start courses, classes where people can find a job in the whole creative
Yep.
departments, you know, like
Yep.
filmmaking and stuff.
That's amazing.
What we're doing.
Good.
Quite
I
a
think-
lot. So very difficult to
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Right.
our lives are so complex. It's difficult to like pinpoint on it.
pinpoint. Yeah, true.
But I see a lot of synergy between us.
Very much.
And, you know, and so I'm glad that I was surprised when you said that, you know, see, we've known each other for so long, but this is one of the few relations which is actually producing something.
Yeah.
Because there are many relationships which you make, but then nothing happens. Why did you say that? I was...
Something happens.
Yeah, something
You
happens.
don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So we just spoke about it.
Huh.
You know, so there are no mistakes. There are no failures.
Right.
So something must have happened or something's going to happen.
Correct.
You don't
could say
meet
that.
people at random.
Right. Right.
There is a reason you meet people. And you never know when that reason will hit you.
That's
so
true.
That's something that I always believe in.
You know, I really loved the conversation we had the other day. You were talking about your journey in that you said, okay, the basic question is how did you start your journey? So let's get into that, and then I will ask you further questions. Let me give me some chai.
Yes, that's
this
nice
is
tea.
this is not
Keeps
my
you going.
famous red tea.
India runs on chai, man.
Yeah, but for my next podcast, I'll get the red tea because I love that one. That's
This
the
is nice.
hibiscus
This is
tea.
good. Hibiscus would be nice.
I love Earl Grey as well. This is Earl Grey, but I think I made it a little too strong.
That's okay.
But yeah, you know our Indian mentality of putting too much tea
Too
leaves.
much.
Today I was in a hurry, so I just. But actually, you just need a few
Few
leaves.
grains,
You know,
yeah,
It
exactly.
does a good job. So, how did you start your journey? You said you started as a photographer. So, what's your education? Let's start from there.
Okay, now this is going to go long.
Okay, let's cut it short then.
I studied science, physics.
Uh-huh.
After that, I had to leave home because I was in Goa.
Mhm.
This is 20 years ago. And I had no clue where I'm going.
Mm.
But there was one thing that changed something in my life. A very interesting story. Today, I'm known for something related to photography.
Mm.
But if you cut back to my college days and if you were a photographer
Mm.
and you said, Naresh, can you just hold my camera? I would say no. Literally, guys, I would say no. Because I had this thing in my mind that photographers are not respected enough.
Mm.
They are the ones who eat food last at a wedding. Frankly, I'm not going to make up anything. This is true.
But here's the thing. I want to add to that. In a way, I believe it is still true when it comes to wedding photographers.
Yeah,
Many
we'll
of
talk
them are
about wedding.
disrespected.
I think we have a lot to talk about
Yes,
the
maybe.
genres. Okay. But yeah, this is what I felt because the only exposure anybody in a common middle class family
Mm-hmm.
had to photography was either weddings or housewarming or
Right.
something
Events,
related to your personal event.
Right.
Where, photographer is the last person to be booked.
Really?
Most of the time.
Oh,
Hey, everything's done. Okay, the flowers have come, the pandit has come or the priest has come. Okay, ठीक है. अच्छा, photographer, उसको बुला ये इसको बुला दे किसी को भी.
Ah.
So that was in my mind and I said, no, never I'm going to do photography per se.
Okay.
So that was out, completely out. But then what happened was there was one presentation in my college
Yep.
done by a company who used to teach animation. Like 20 years back, animation was
20 years
big.
back. Huh?
Yeah, big. So they came, they gave a presentation about, okay, this is what animation can do for you. This is the career and all that crap.
Right.
I was the only one from my class who sat for that presentation. There were like 3 boys
Mm.
and we sat through it and we looked at it and I said, okay, this is something I want to do.
Animation.
Yeah, animation. I want to create something.
Mm.
So, chalo, theek hai. I finished my graduation. I enrolled in a course and stuff.
Right.
But then reality hit. It's like bloody expensive.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to take money from my dad anymore.
Mm.
So I said, okay, let me earn and learn and earn types.
Mm.
So I hit to Bangalore. I started working
And this
wherever I
was-
got a job.
You studied in Goa.
I studied in Goa.
Okay,
yeah.
and then you went to Bangalore.
I studied in Dempe College. I'm proud to say that.
Alma mater.
Then I went to Bangalore. I took up a job that came my way. Most of them were in the BPO section those days. So it was easy to get a job.
Right.
So found a job, kept the money aside and did a filmmaking course.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You did a filmmaking
I did a
course.
filmmaking course.
So, why is video production so complicated for you?
It's not complicated. That's why the...
Did you finish your course?
I finished my course.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was a crash course.
Ah, okay.
Right? Video production, the camera technicalities are complicated for me. With the storytelling, I'm always there.
Ah, okay.
Right? But then one part of that filmmaking was forced photography. Like forced in the sense, okay, you have to learn photography. You have to
Right.
learn the basics.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you move to
Correct.
filmmaking. So I had no choice. I would have actually bunked those classes. But then I had paid money, man, from my pocket.
Yeah.
So I sat through those classes. And that's where I figured out that photography is not about eating food last. Okay, it's much more.
Photography. So funny.
Yeah. So it's much more than the camera. It's much more than, just hitting a button.
Yeah, yeah.
And the filmmaking course got over. Then I was like, now bloody I was inclined to photography.
Mm.
So I started looking out for a proper photography course or an assignment.
Okay.
I found another one, a small crash course again. I said, okay, did it because I'm in a city, there's no parental pressure. I can do whatever I want. I have the money also. So I said, okay, chalo, let me do this. Let me learn photography. I did that. So I learned to use the camera.
Right.
And then I thought, okay, maybe I'm a photographer now. But no, it didn't stop there. Then I realized that, okay, fine.
And what genre of photography did you learn?
I just learned the camera.
How to use
To be
the
frank,
camera.
yeah.
That's
I
it.
have never gone to a full school of design or photography. There was a 2-week course where they taught you to use the
Just
DSLR.
the technical
Yeah,
aspects.
DSLR
of
and a few lights.
Oh, okay.
This was in Bangalore.
This was how many years back?
Maybe 18 years ago.
Whoa,
After
so which
2
camera
years
was it? I always am
I
interested.
I had this camera called Pentax K1000.
Oh, that's
which
a
I
DSLR.
I could use it for taking pictures as well as used it as a dumbbell. So it was heavy.
Oh, yeah?
Body, man. Awesome piece. My father
Wow.
bought it for me.
Pentax K1000.
Pentax
It
K1000
had
film camera.
interchangeable lens. I heard in those days.
Yeah, it had.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I heard in those days, like, okay, I don't know. I think this was Datta who was telling me this. He said in those days, having a 50mm is all you had. Having a lens apart from 50mm is a luxury.
Kind of, yeah.
Was it like that?
Yeah, it was. Because things were very expensive and they were not easily available. Like if you want a lens, you go to like in Bangalore itself, if you need a complicated lens,
Right.
you need to go book
Wait,
the
what's-
lens, pay money.
Huh.
Anything beyond 50mm or
Oh,
some
is
prime lens
everything-
is complex.
Okay.
Right? Like I didn't know that. See, I was just introduced to photography.
Right.
That the camera I had a macro feature.
Okay.
So I didn't know that.
Right.
I was so bad.
Okay.
But then I explored the macro feature. Then I had a 85mm lens, I believe. So I had these things, and films were expensive, man. Taking a picture, doing a click was expensive, right? Because you have to change the film. So my first job as a photographer was I went and assisted this photographer called Bhavananda Mishra in Bangalore. I'm still in touch with Sir, and Sir has helped me in a very different way. He never sat and taught you things, but he challenged you in a very different way. So the first day I went, I hope this story is not getting boring.
No.
Okay, this is interesting
Go
now.
ahead.
The first day I finished my course, I said I want to be your assistant. It was 12 o'clock in the
Noon.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Sir is like some 6.5 feet tall. So, and he's sitting there and like, what's your name? I said, this Naresh. What do you want to do? So I love photography.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Common answer given by a 22, 23-year-old.
Yeah.
I love photography. So I said, okay, let's see. 2 days you'll run away.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of kids like you who say, I love photography, I live photography. You can't handle it for 2 days.
Right.
I said, let me see, sir, even I'll know.
Yeah.
That was my answer to him, frankly. There was no ego in it. I was like, even I don't know whether I'm going to be.
yeah.
Because 2 years ago, I used to hate photography.
Right.
So, theek hai, come, he said, have lunch and come.
Uh-huh.
And I went out, I had my lunch and I came back. And he was like sarcastic. Oh, you're back? I said, yes, sir. And I worked with him for about a year and a half, technically trying to learn something. But he let me do whatever I want at his studio whenever there is no shoot. I used to take leaves and I used to go. So I'm not very happy to say this, but today I am in photography and Sir is not.
Okay.
All right. Sir has moved into some other business, into publishing and stuff like that. But that's the story. That's how my photography began. Okay. But then one day Sir was not so interested in running a studio, and it was very difficult, man.
Really?
Those days. Yeah.
Why was it?
Because there were no assignments. There were not many assignments. You needed to crack a lot of. See, getting an assignment was not easy. I'm not talking about weddings.
Right. Weddings is easy.
Those days it was a little easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, weddings is still easy. I'm telling you. See, I had no experience shooting weddings. Okay. And finally I got one client who wanted, because I started with business videos. Like
Right.
all of my, from the beginning I've been working with businesses. One client said, I have this requirement. You need 2 people with a drone and everything. And I took that up, man. And it's one of the best wedding videos I made. So I still feel it's the lowest hanging tree. So I was just thinking this morning. I think there are some really great wedding photographers. You know, and I don't know why, man. I keep shitting on them.
No,
But
there are.
there's some amazing wedding photographers. I think to become a great wedding photographer,
yeah, that's
you
where
have
the challenge is.
the most challenging thing is to maintain your interest in that field,
True.
because it's so dead. It's so
It's
boring.
a storytelling format.
But
you know?
it's what's the story? The story is the same. One boy met one girl, they fell in love, they're getting married. What are the
It's like
stories?
saying every cricket match is the same.
Well, nah,
People play.
come on.
I
You're
mean,
not
somebody
going to get into
bowls,
their
somebody.
personal lives and ask them what happened. That's too deep.
We have a lot to talk about wedding photography.
Yes, we do.
So those days were such. There were no rental companies.
Yep.
Like if you needed a lens, you needed to have a good photographer as a friend maybe, who has a few lenses, and then you borrow it, because buying a lens for one assignment doesn't make sense.
Right.
And I didn't stand a chance, because whatever I had as money was not enough to set up a studio or go into the market and stay hungry for a few months, and that didn't work with me.
So basically, when you talk about assignments at a studio, what kind of assignments are you talking
No,
about?
need not be at a studio. It
No,
could
you're
be.
talking about your sir. Let's talk about your sir. He
Yeah,
ran a
he
studio.
used to do. He used
So
to.
is it a
shoot-
physical studio?
Yeah, he ran a physical studio,
Right.
the way you have and I
Right.
have. He used to shoot food. He used to shoot furniture.
Uh-huh.
He used to shoot not fashion, but a lot of lifestyle shots.
Mm.
So
Getting
who
those was
would-
difficult.
Who would hire you for a lifestyle?
Yeah.
Those days it was such that every 3 months somebody did a shoot, and the shoot was big. But then there were like 20 people contending for that same
Exactly.
assignment.
Yeah.
And then the number of brands in the market were not so many.
Right.
So the ratio was a lot more. There are more photographers than there's only one assignment.
Right.
As against today, it's a lot. Even if there are 10 photographers in that line at that stature, maybe 8 of them will get the job.
Mm.
Okay, there'll be 2 who may not.
Mm.
Okay, so there's a lot of work in the market right now compared to those days.
Mm.
So what happened then was, because of this challenge, I didn't have the money to invest and buy lenses and cameras. I had to give up photography.
Mm.
So I said, nahi, ye nahi ho sakta. Chalo, let me look out for something else. And then I pivoted towards graphic design, and then I moved into an advertising agency. I worked with Saatchi. I worked with Opus.
So here I come to the next question.
Sure.
So I'm going to ask you about your journey and how literature started, right? You made a very, very interesting statement the other day. You said, everything that I know now is because I spent 6 months at a particular company.
one
It's such an interesting story. Please share that with us.
Okay, I really admire this man. I don't know whether I should take the brand name.
That's okay. You don't have to.
So, after I decided to join or move into the graphic design field, which was
Right.
much economically easier
Yeah.
than doing photography.
What do you mean?
Like
you get
like
paid
you
much
get
more.
you get no, you can do a lot of things on one computer,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So all you invest is in a computer
Right.
and a few softwares, and you can do things and you
Right.
can make money on that,
Mm.
right? Graphic design was that economically cheaper.
Right.
So I decided to, let me move into advertising, into graphics. So I learned graphics by myself.
Really?
As I said, I never went to a school of design or anything.
So which softwares?
I started with Corel Draw, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, all these things. I was
Really?
really good at all.
Man, I'm like, all that stuff is alien to me. I have no idea how to use them. Even Photoshop, such a pain.
I used to work in a BPO.
Okay.
I'm not going to take the name. I may get sued now. I had to work in a BPO, and I used to choose the night shift because after a certain time there used to be no work. Okay, because we're taking care of some servers and stuff. So 1 o'clock onwards till 3 o'clock I used to study.
Wow.
In the BPO.
Yeah.
Okay, I used to download something, but our own laptops were not allowed.
Okay.
But befriended the IT guy and I downloaded trial versions again and again. And I built a small portfolio. I learned the software.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I made a portfolio. Then I started working part-time with an ad agency without any money because money was not my concern.
Yeah.
So I used to work in the night,
Yeah.
get up in the morning, go
Yeah.
home, sleep for a few hours. In the afternoon, go to this agency,
Yep.
and just hang out there.
Correct.
Right? That's how I learned
Yeah.
graphics, and just hang out, do small things here and there, and entertain the whole crowd. That was the funniest part. It was a
How
small
will you
agency.
entertain the crowd?
So
I never
the
knew you were
teacher-
an entertainer.
I was, man. I was. So the lady who ran that agency, again, I don't want to take the brand name, was quite khadus.
Okay.
So though she was sweet, she was always up to explaining, learning and stuff like that. But she was like, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. And the whole staff used to be like, oh, damn, man, she's here types.
Right.
And I used to be, because I was not an employee there, right? I didn't care for anybody. I just want to learn what you're doing. So I used to entertain them. I used to, give them a massage sometimes. I'll go get something for them.
Okay.
I will mimic the lady sometime. I'll mimic the other characters or other employees and, just play it up with them. So,
Yeah.
but the lady noticed me.
Okay.
I thought she wasn't.
Okay.
But then, and one day when I was...
And this is at the place you were working for free at?
For free, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And the day I was like, I said, ma'am, okay, now I'm going to leave. I've found a job in that. She was like, what will happen to my employees? They'll get bored again.
Oh, she was like,
And
you are
she
the
was like, yeah,
motivator.
I mean-
You are the reason they're still sticking around.
Kind of. And what happened was their efficiency improved.
Yes, of course. When you're happier, then
So
whoa,
in a
for
day,
sure.
they would probably make one brochure. But now they started making 1.5 brochure.
Oh,
Right,
that's
that
amazing.
design. Maybe they would make 5 posters. Now they started making 7 posters, and they started giving you a variation. So in any creative field, variation is more important.
Yeah.
You need to see different things.
Right.
So she was like, okay, when you're here, and the days you're not there, let's say you've gone home or something like that, people are bored. And when you're here, people are happy. Though I
That's
can't
nice.
make them happy. She knew that about her. So she's like,
Self-awareness.
she was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm the bad boss. I can't keep them happy, but when you're here, they're happy. So that happened over there. But I said, okay, but I found a job. I need to go. And fine. Then I moved. I went to another agency. I worked there.
So you quit your BPO job?
I quit my BPO job that day
Yeah.
at a 50% less salary. So
Really?
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I knew what I had to do
Yeah.
in my life. So I was, let's say, earning around 40,000 in my BPO job. I went to my first agency at about 18,000 salary.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So I dared to do it.
Right.
Because, okay, this is where I need to go. I stayed in that agency. Then I moved to the next agency, which was really interesting. This is where things changed.
Right. This is that 6 month
That's
stint.
5 months. not
5
even 6
months.
months,
Wow.
5 months. I stayed there for 5 months.
So wait. You said that everything that I am today, everything that I'm doing right now is because
Yeah.
of 5
Those
months.
5 months.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Those 5 months.
Tell us.
If if there was no fear, I would have taken the name of that gentleman. I really respect whatever I got out of.
Well, if you respect him, then I think you can take his
No,
name.
but there are other reasons also. So
You're better and more calculated than me.
probably.
I need to be more calculated with my
Yeah.
with what I speak. Guys, today I received a legal notice.
I saw that.
I didn't tell Abhishek about it. I received a legal notice. I'm very excited for it. Let's go ahead.
You should stop there. Okay. So those 5 months, I literally figured out that I was an idea machine. I literally figured out that I could understand certain...
You grasped your creative genius.
In a way, that man gave me the space to do that.
That's amazing.
Like, that's something I really want to give it out to him. He gave me the space to do that. He was like, speak up, talk, let
Right.
it be a failure. Let it be a flop. I mean,
Wow.
you could say, okay, red is red.
Right.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
Okay. But you say it. If you don't say it, we may be assuming green. Okay. And that gave me the confidence to, keep...
Say that again. He gave you the courage to what?
To
say.
see, what happens mostly in a creative line is,
Right.
let's say you come out with an idea.
Right.
In a group full of people. You have a fear of speaking it out. This happens. Okay. Trust me, this happens.
This happens everywhere, man.
Yeah. Because you're worried that maybe if it's a very simple idea.
Right.
Why, if I've thought about it, everybody must have thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you speak it out, maybe everybody's thought about it.
Right.
But the whole group now steps on that idea and goes further.
Right.
That's teamwork.
Uh-huh.
Right? So never hold back an idea. If you are a creative person in your life, never hold back an idea. Let people laugh at you, but speak it out.
That's amazing. I love what you said, because, you know, when I go for meetings, right, sometimes I feel like, why am I the only one speaking out? You know, these guys, I'm sure they have ideas,
Of
right?
course, everybody does.
Everyone has an idea. But why are you afraid to speak it? It may not be the best idea in the world, but just by speaking it out.
That's the line.
Yeah.
Everybody is trying to speak out the best idea.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yep.
You know, I train my team saying that, you know what, don't try to make a perfect frame.
Right.
Try to make 10 frames.
Correct.
Okay, in the pursuit of perfection,
Yes.
you're losing out something that would have worked.
Exactly.
Right? So, we need, like, the whole education system needs to teach people to speak up. Doesn't
Right.
matter if it's right or wrong or whatever.
Exactly, man. I think this is endemic to our Indian education system, because in the Indian education system there is a lack of self-expression. Like, I studied at a British school in Qatar for like what, three years, and the freedom we had and the respect we had and the way the class was designed, it didn't look like an Indian classroom, you know. Like Indian classroom, you have benches all uniform, but over there were like different layouts and computers spread here and some play area there, and that's so beautiful. Like, I loved it, you know. It was so nice. And probably because of those days, those few years of me being in an education system that was so expressive, and probably maybe that gave me courage to.
Of course,
Yeah.
it helps a lot. It
Right.
helps a lot. But, you know, this is, okay, we were like, express it.
Right.
Express yourself. Don't worry about these words or expressing yourself. Just speak it out.
Yeah,
as
just
simple
speak
as
it
that,
out.
man. Simple.
Yeah.
Just talk it. No, क्या करना है भाई? चाय पीना है क्या? Coffee. People are stuck with that. अरे नहीं पीना है, beer पीना है, ठीक है, चलो बोलो ना beer पीना है.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether you have it or not, whether other people say anything, but you need to speak.
Yeah.
So that's when I said, you know, that man gave me the freedom to
Right.
say things as stupid as, you know, sir, red is red. I could speak out, I could be an idiot to
Right.
that level.
Yeah, but you're saying red is red, which is correct. So give me a
It is
better
correct.
example.
It is correct. I'm just giving you a, like, you know it, right? But if asked in this, would somebody speak it out?
Okay, wait. This is a great time for a segue. Let's look at this painting. Okay,
Yep.
you're a creative. You can speak whatever you want.
Yeah.
What is your interpretation of this beautiful
In the middle of a
painting?
podcast, you want me to analyze a
Yes!
I need
This is a
something.
crazy podcast. It's like, चलो यार कुछ करते हैं, कुछ अलग करते हैं, क्यों नहीं?
Okay. See, I like.
No, see.
Frankly, I'm not going to be political.
That's
I'm not going to be over analytical. One thing I've learned about art.
Right.
Okay. A great artist explained this to me.
Okay.
Look at the art.
Right.
Don't try to make sense out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people say, ये क्या है, ये क्यों है, ये कैसा है.
Uh-huh.
If it was logical, it would be a graphic design or a photograph. If it is art, it's an expression of somebody's thought.
Right.
And it's a process of bringing up that skill. Right. Now, what I can interpret out of this, okay, a flourishing tree with decent roots, with a cutout, maybe, I don't know if this is even cement or something like that. So that gives me a thought like, the tree is so courageous. It's still holding its ground.
Uh-huh.
Right? That's what I feel. But now, what I have the freedom or I have the courage to speak it out to this level.
Yes.
Now, if the artist was standing here,
Right.
I may have hurt her sentiments because I see it's a lady.
Yeah.
But if I was worried about, okay, what if I say wrong?
Right.
What if it's not the right thing? That artist will not learn anything probably.
yeah.
Okay, at the same time, I said, okay, this is what this art has done to me.
Right. Yeah.
I don't care what it was supposed to do to another guy.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Right? So that's what I see. I don't see the reason why red is there, but it looks nice. It's nice. It's contrasting. Um Beautiful. That's what I take from this. The tree is courageous. It represents courage to me, holding its ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this painting, I found this painting and I saw it, and I asked her how much does it cost. I want to acquire it. I couldn't afford it. Then after 6 months, I came back, and this painting was like on her business card. It was like on a art exhibition center. It was
Right.
like it was so famous.
Okay.
One of her best pieces, and no one bought it for 6 months. Then I went back to her studio and I saw this, and I said, how much did it cost? It had increased in price by 40%.
Wow.
I said, I definitely don't want to spend so much money. So I said, your previous price, I'll pay you that in cash. Rest of it, let me do a barter. I'll give you my services.
Okay.
So now I'm making a documentary film about her. By the way,
Awesome.
this artist is Nandini Raikar, beautiful artist. She does these nature painting and she's inspired by trees.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, see, I respect everyone who interprets this.
Absolutely.
It's an interpretation.
Of course.
And it's correct according to you.
Yep.
There's no wrong
No, there's no
interpretation.
right or
It's
wrong.
art. It's
Yeah.
art, right? It can mean anything. But for some reason, I was so attracted to this. And by the way, this is the most expensive thing that I have bought just for the
Wow.
pleasure of,
Yeah. That's what
Beauty.
art does to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just for the pleasure of beauty. Like, it has no functional purpose. I bought this for the podcast, by the way.
Awesome.
I bought this for the podcast. So it does have a function because it makes the place look so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, look at this frame.
Colors.
I just love it. So I'll tell you what I see in this painting.
Yeah.
I see my life in this painting.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm not
I'm
going to
sure.
get into that. Let's go into the podcast again. So where were we? We were talking about. So as you said, it is very important to express yourself.
Of course.
So just yesterday, I was in a meeting with two colleagues, and I had already formulated in my mind, the plan and everything. And see, now I don't have to share my ideas. I don't have to tell them this is why I'm thinking this. This is why I'm doing. But if I'm a proud person, I would say, no, these are my ideas. Why you want to know? Why should I share them, right? But I said, let me talk about them. Because, Naresh, I've noticed something. I've noticed this while I'm teaching. So I love teaching video production, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed this thing. When you start teaching, right, you suddenly get new ideas
Yep.
and how to explain things, how to simplify things. Like, for example,
I know.
I was trying to explain aperture. What does an aperture mean? And I thought, how do I explain aperture? And I thought, right on the spot, I said, aperture is like windows of your house.
Awesome.
You want more light in? Open your windows. If you want less light in, close your windows.
Close
And
your
the
windows.
windows should be black, obviously.
Plus.
So, things like that. So I was explaining this podcast, this concept to this person. And because I was explaining it, he connected with it and he improved the idea.
Of course.
On my
Right.
previous podcast with Marion, she says something beautiful that somebody else said to her. She's like, if I have an apple and you have an apple and we give it to each other, each of us still have one apple
One
each.
apple. Yep.
But if I have an idea and you have an idea and we
True.
give each other it,
We have four.
we have two ideas
Two
each.
Can get multiplied into 4.
So
Yep.
it's very important to speak. And one of the things that really annoy me with certain crowds, especially if we are in a meeting in a discussion, right?
Yeah.
And somebody is asking for an opinion or some questions,
Mm-hmm.
people don't say anything. And maybe it's because of their fear, but let me tell you, that makes the person look stupid. When you don't speak, it makes you look stupid. Also, there are sometimes when you speak, you look stupid. That happens many times with me. When I speak, I look stupid.
No.
But I think it is important to be.
It's important
As
to
I
be.
think also as creatives, we are wired differently.
Yeah,
What do you
I
think about
can relate to that. We are wired differently. We execute things differently.
Yeah,
But then we are still humans.
exactly.
Right,
We're still
sure.
we're all the same. So, let's talk about those 5 months.
5 months.
in this amazing business.
Okay,
Or
something's
in this
got
creative.
under 5
It was an
months.
agency.
It was an advertising agency.
Okay.
We worked with some some good clients. In those 5 months, I've cracked quite a lot of design assignments. And the good part about my boss or my creative head or the owner of that agency was
Right.
he never said no. If I ask him, how do you do this?
Right.
Or what do you mean by this?
Right.
He took the time off from whatever he was doing, and he just turned to you and he explained you the shit.
That's beautiful.
And he explained you till the time
You understood.
you understood it. And his explanation never needed a second explanation.
So he's that good at
He was that
elucidating.
good at perfectly putting the ideas in your mind.
Yeah. In a way that you can
In a way.
absorb it.
And it was a little
understand it.
animated. For example, he taught me why a message on an advertising campaign.
On a billboard, maybe.
On an advertising campaign. Then it goes wherever. Billboards are medias.
Okay.
Right? So we used to crack ideas. We used to
Right.
strategize. How does he decide? Because he's the creative director. We present it to him. How does he decide whether it's a good one, will work, not work?
Mm.
So he said only one line. I just put it in one of these buckets. It should register.
It should register.
And see, he said, I've heard this word many a times.
It should register.
Okay, it should register. It should people should remember and all. But I never caught it. But that day he did that. It should register.
Mm.
That animation of his
Mm.
telling me that it should register. It stuck to me for life.
दिमाग में टिकने का है.
Even if you don't want it, it
Right.
should be there.
Even if you don't
Like
want it, it should be.
For example,
Yeah. Like,
Ramesh Suresh
Huh.
ad 5-star. Know about it?
no.
Okay, if you watch TV, you would know. You know about it? The Ramesh Suresh, everybody. I'm sure whoever's watching
Now we're
this
in the
will know.
world of internet. We don't have like cable TV and
No,
it's like
it's been all around.
okay. Rami, we can put that.
Horrible ad, criticized by many people, but we are talking about it today.
Yeah, we're talking about it on the
You know,
podcast.
and it's for 5-star. So brand name doesn't go out. The stupid ad never went out. It became famous. People started connecting with it. If there were two people whose names were similar,
Right.
people would say hey, Ramesh Suresh,
Uh-huh.
making fun of it. But
Right.
it stayed. It registered.
Mm.
The Zuzu ad registered.
Oh yeah.
Right. So the Cadbury ad, the dance ad that was, which they had to remake now.
Right.
With the women batting.
Oh yes,
Right?
that one. Yes. Oh, that was wow.
Yeah, there were reasons how it registered.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how he put it in my mind.
That music for the original ad.
True.
Oh man, what music, man. Oof.
Beautiful.
Let's
right?
put that in the audio for this. This is the music playing right now. Yeah.
Khas.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Beautiful. So this is how he taught me the whole business of advertising.
Right.
Or rather, he just spoke it out and maybe I gathered it.
Got it.
I don't know which one is true.
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
he taught me or I learnt.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Could
because,
be one of them.
Mm,
But yeah, I give that credit to him. And whatever I did after that, like I still joined another agency. I worked there for another 2 years. And then I started my own agency, advertising agency before literature. I applied all his techniques.
mm,
And I applied his creative techniques of presenting to clients. Why should you say, how do you convince a client? Let's say you come out with an idea, but you need to convince the client, right? At the end of it, because it's his brand.
right.
There was another gentleman who taught me that.
Mm.
He said, know the business.
Wait,
if
hold
you-
on. You said convince it. What do you mean?
Okay. So the client comes to you.
Right.
Now we're talking advertising, by the way.
Right.
We're talking communication rather.
Mm.
A client comes to you saying that, okay, this is my problem or this is my product. I want to take it to these people.
Mm.
So they come to an ad agency. Okay, how will you talk? What will be the language?
Right.
That's the most basic I can put it. So an ad agency sits there. They crack some idea. They crack
Correct.
a messaging format. Then they say, okay, we'll put it up on billboards. We'll put it up on TV or radio or cars and moving vehicles or whatever it is. Now that's the medium.
Mm.
But the client who's sitting there, who's going to actually make the decision, when an advertising professional comes back saying that, okay, here is the idea that we've cracked, the client has to accept it,
Right.
right? Because you can't just say, okay, I'm the best person in the world, so you have to accept it.
Mm.
So even the best ad man have to go convince a client, because he knows something more than what you know, because
Right.
he knows his business. Okay. I learned a technique of convincing that client. Like, how do you, what is the reason that somebody will say, yes, this is working? Okay,
Got it.
so these techniques, see, we are talking advertising. I don't think I have to go deep into that right now,
Yes.
because that's another
Rabbit hole.
whole,
I mean, so basically, in this particular instance, he taught you how to communicate why an idea would be beneficial to a client and his requirements. Is that
absolutely, yeah, because
Right.
you're selling something.
yeah? He taught you how to sell
He
sell
taught
an
me
idea,
how to
a
s-
concept.
how to sell. See, sales and selling a concept,
Right.
they are two different things. Like, if you need tea, you go to market, you buy tea because
Right.
you need tea.
Right.
But that pot, somebody needs to convince you to buy that. You will say, okay, I don't like that. I can buy another one, or I have one at home. Okay, so these are two different products. So that's where the design matters. Whereas a tea packet, even if it comes in a polythene bag with a label, you may still buy it.
Right.
Right? So there are different ways of selling things. Okay, in our case, because we belong to the creative field, we need to sync to the client's mindset. Okay, he should see what we are seeing,
Got it.
right? And that is very difficult to convince. So that is the reason, people ask for 100 things. Show me a mock-up, show me this, because they can't visualize. A client cannot visualize. We are creative people because we can visualize anything.
Correct.
Right? If you're a musician, you can hear things without an instrument. You can listen. If you are a cook, you can feel the taste even before the food has been cooked.
Right.
Right? If you are anything else, like if you're a performing artist, which is more to do with the touch or your body, you can feel the music and convert it into motion. So every art form,
Right.
the artist is able to see something a little more than what the client sees. But
That's
the client
true.
wants to buy it.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like this painting again. You're a client. You want to buy it.
Right.
But can you go back to the painter and give her a brief saying that I want a tree like that, minus this, when this was not with you?
No.
No. Just because you saw it, you liked it.
Yes.
Because it was a
Yeah.
completed product.
Right.
Right? Same thing happens with us. Creative people usually have a mindset that the clients don't understand. Yes, they don't, because they are not meant to understand. They are not
They're
tuned.
built differently.
They are built different.
They
Their
have a
job is
different
something
language.
else.
Yeah.
Because they exist, you exist, right? Because you are selling something because somebody is going to buy it.
Yep.
Now, how do you convince a client saying that, okay, the idea that you're looking for is here with me. I can offer it to you. Thank you. So, okay, this is going way too far. Okay, so coming back to my 5 months of experience, I learned these techniques.
Amazing.
I learned these techniques, and it doesn't mean that I'll have 100% success.
Right.
Let me say that I've also not had success. Not always do these formulas work, but then you need to keep going.
Yes.
My agency never lost a pitch.
Wow.
Okay, we didn't do great, but we never lost a pitch. I cracked all the clients that we had. Sometimes one of the clients just didn't give us the work because we were not India-wide. Otherwise, they were like, you guys have done it well.
I think the ad field is really, really interesting. There's another interesting thing you told me about when you went to the next, I don't know whether it was the next ad agency or whatever, but the CEO or somebody was trying to implement management HR techniques on creatives.
Those guys
and it
who know
completely
me
failed.
are going to know who exactly the CEO
Yes.
I'm talking about.
Yes.
And I respect that lady a lot.
Of
Okay,
course.
but yes, I think since I'm also an entrepreneur right now, and I feel I'm doing this for the betterment
So
of
wait,
this
tell us
plan.
what the problem statement is.
The problem statement is this. See, what do you mean by being creative?
And how do you manage creatives?
That's
what
the
you're talking
second point.
about. Okay.
What first we need to understand. See, anybody who's creative, what comes to your mind first?
Pagal
Correct. Correct. Pagal Sala, not dressing well, hair is all around the place, got tattoos, maybe, wearing
Lives
stuff
very
which
shabbily.
lives probably very shabbily, wears something. He doesn't care
Uh-huh.
because he is not stopped by any rules.
Uh-huh.
He or she, okay? He's not stopped by any rules. If somebody says don't go out in the night, he doesn't care. Because if he didn't go out in the night, how would he get that star cast shot?
Star cast shot.
The star trail shot,
Right.
sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I'm talking about photography.
Right.
But if somebody didn't go out in the night, how would, let's say an ad man doesn't know what a party is, how can that person sell a Bacardi rum?
Oh yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So these people have to break rules so that those who follow rules can buy something.
Wow. These people have to break rules so that those who follow rules
Can
can
buy
buy,
something.
it. Wow, that's good
Right?
stuff.
So
I never thought about. Yeah, interesting. Very nice.
it is, because if you want to do something, let's say you want to dig a tunnel
Right.
in a mountain.
Ah.
There will be one person or a machine going down, then there'll be one person going down. Who's the first guy?
Uh-huh.
We've not thought about that guy,
Yeah,
right? So that people who don't want to get their clothes dirty can pass through the tunnel someday,
Yeah.
right? But somebody got their clothes dirty.
Somebody had to take that risk.
Risk. Same thing here. When you're creating something as small as maybe a brochure, the way you write, the way you evoke an emotion, you need to know the rules to break the rules, and you need to break it multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's why you see creative guys ending up in trouble most of the time.
Maybe
with
that's
somebody
why
or
I'm
other.
always in trouble.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. Yes, you are. That happens because creative freedom. Now it depends on the artist.
Yeah.
You can't just go and hurt somebody,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
You can't hurt sentiments.
Right. Right.
So in the name of creative freedom, you need to know where your lines
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
But when you're selling something, there is no rules, man. There's
Absolutely.
no limits.
Absolutely.
Right. This is the reason creative guys are not built. They are executing things differently.
Correct. You know, since we're talking about creativity, I was telling my wife this. So my wife is a musician,
Yeah.
super talented not guitarist, pianist, flutist, saxophonist, vocalist, music theory, everything. But I told her, I learned something from, I don't know whether it was a book or a movie or something. He said something. If you are a creative person, you need to continue to experience new things.
Of course.
If you're going to work on a particular route, if you want to be creative, take a different route the next day. See something new.
True.
Explore something new.
Absolutely.
As simple as taking a different route
Yep.
to work.
Yep.
You know, so when I go to Panjim, there's only one route which I normally take. But maybe I'll decide, hey, I've always gone on this boring route.
Yep.
Let me explore something. Let's take a new route.
Take a new route.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, I love what you said, that creative people have to break rules in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Break rules. You have to break rules.
So let's get back to the
let's-
problem statement of this manager.
Correct. So when you are going to break rules, the first and the most stupid rule, because I'm a creative person, I can say this, is the 9 to 5. I have nothing against job seekers, people who go for jobs and
Right,
stuff.
right.
That's absolutely perfect. But you can't put a creative in that line. You can't say you have to log in at 9 o'clock, otherwise we'll cut your salary.
Right.
Right? Because maybe few days, then it will impact their work. Because their whole mind will shift from looking at something to looking at the clock. You get the difference.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I need to be there at now, otherwise I'll cut my salary. Cut that thing from them. So when somebody tried to do that in one of the spaces where I worked,
Right.
things didn't work out. And that's taught me something
And
else.
when you say things didn't work out, what do you mean? Let's talk about numbers. Let's
productivity-
talk about productivity.
Yeah, the productivity, the quality of work.
So wait,
went
hold
down.
on. Let me give context to this.
Sure.
He was working at an ad agency, and this person who was the manager or whatever tried to use MBA techniques on the staff. You know, HR MBA techniques, right?
Yep.
To get them to perform better. But what that person did not understand is that these are creatives. They need to be handled differently
True.
from the, say, the blue collar staff, white collar staff.
Absolutely.
You know. So yeah, what happened? How did the creativity
So,
get hampered?
What happens is, okay, I'll just put myself down here. I used to go to office and let's say in the morning I used to get a set of deliverables by the end of the day. And I used to be there, I used to start at 10:30. Okay. From 10:30 till 4 o'clock, I used to watch YouTube. I used to always be on YouTube. My friend who's looking at this, you know who I'm talking about. You call me YouTube. All your life, you called me YouTube.
Oh, really?
In that place. Hey, YouTube. Okay. What I used to do, I used to look at my deliverables. I used to plan it. And I used to, 4 o'clock, I used to open my eyes.
Right.
Because that is the time I'm able to concentrate. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that at that time.
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Okay.
And by 7 o'clock, I'm done. Whatever needs to be done.
Right.
So technically, it's taken me 3 hours to crack something, present something. And I know this the whole day, that I'll take maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and let's say 3 hours to do this. So I never till 4 o'clock, I used to never work. I used to only read the mail, understand the thing, do some research, figure out, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. Once I get that, I'm back to YouTube.
Right.
And I'm watching something that's related. You know this guy, whoever I'm talking about, if you see this, he would literally come and tell me in the morning, भाई आज मेरे बेबी का बर्थडे है, आज मेरे को 6 बजे घर जाना है. And I'm like, ठीक है चलो, I'll do it for you.
Oh, so he was dependent on you
because he can't leave till I submit to him.
Oh, okay.
It was barbaric on my part. I shouldn't have done that.
Okay.
But then this is the
guy
reason.
Who approves your work.
No, he's the one. He was the servicing guy who would go deliver it to the client and bring it back and bring back feedback.
Got it.
So he used to, in the morning, he used to tell me, भाई मेरे को आज जाना है, मेरा बर्थडे है, मेरा बीवी का बर्थडे है, मम्मी का बर्थडे है, whatever. Please let me go. 6 बजे निकलना है. I said, okay. Then that day I used to help him out. Okay. Try to do something, close it for him and all. But this is how it works. Now, I wasn't doing it on purpose, which looks like that to a guy who's in a set standard. He's not working, he's wasting time the whole day.
Right.
It's not like that. I would be happy if I started work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Got it.
But I couldn't do that, because this happened. Now, if somebody came and told me, no, you have to come at 9 and you have to go at 6, what am I going to do?
You'll do it.
I will do it. But I'll be like, oh, what is a bigger priority? 6 o'clock.
Right.
The priority is not the deliverable. But in our case, the priority becomes the deliverable.
Right.
Okay. If a creative guy can be handled like that, I'm not saying this is the best way of working, but if can be handled like that, if the creative time is a certain time, let that be. Let somebody say, okay, instead of giving tomorrow as a deadline, make it day after tomorrow. Those kind of thoughts have to come in.
That's lovely.
Right.
I mean, if I look at my life also, I see those things in me, like I have a lot of interests. Like currently I'm planning to build a paludarium, which is like half aquarium, half terrarium, things like that. So I tend to have various interests. Then during the pandemic, I started doing growing vegetable plants, and now I'm growing ornamental plants. I think I never realized I was a creative until probably recently.
I'll tell you something very interesting. Listen to this, guys. Okay. I'm very proud of this line. Every human being is creative. Every human being is creative.
I agree.
Have you ever wondered, even if you make a bowl of Maggi and somebody likes it,
right?
You say, "Arey, maine banaya."
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Like, frankly, I'm on the internet.
Right.
Okay. Maine banaya. You feel that pride in creating something because we are built like that.
Yes.
Okay. Human beings are built like that.
Yep.
Kids are able to express it. But the moment people grow up, somewhere it goes off because you're stuck in the clock.
Stuck in the clock.
Yeah. It's okay to be stuck in the clock because provided you want to be stuck in the clock.
Right.
But create something for yourself. You could be anything, musician, painter, cook, crafts, origami.
Right.
Whatever you want, do something. Because the creative juices, it's like an adrenaline. It pushes you. It makes you want to live.
Yeah. So I'll tell you another story. So when I was in university studying mechanical engineering, so very close friends of mine, my roommates, my best friends, they were all from the army background. I mean, the
Right.
defense background, or wanted to get into defense.
Right.
All right. I think 4 of my friends were in the
Defense.
yeah. Who three of them were from the defense background, like their parents were in the defense, and one of them was mad about it. He wanted to get into it, right? So I said, "Chalo, maybe try karta." Because they were like, "Oh, defense is so cool," and like Air Force, Navy,
Yeah.
Army, like
No.
awesome, man. Kya respect milta hai yaar, ye wo.
Yeah.
So I said, even I'll try. So I passed the written exam for the
Right.
Air Force, okay, and I was sent for SSB in Mysore. I went to Mysore, okay, and they had to give me, I mean, they had a psychological evaluation, okay.
Mhm.
They showed some random image, right, just rando completely image, and within 10 minutes you have to write a positive story about it.
About it, okay.
Like, sala, in my head only negative things are coming. So I tried to spin it out to be positive, but probably wasn't 100% positive. So,
It's more analytical.
but then
yeah.
as I walked, after that exam, as I walked through and the defense have massive camps, right?
Yeah.
Huge lands, like empty, you don't see anyone.
True.
As I walked through that, literally, Naresh, I was feeling suffocated. I was feeling like someone doing. I just felt completely out of place.
Happens.
Completely. And I said to myself, I don't think I want this life. I do not think I want to be so suffocated and controlled. And I learned something later. In the defense, you have to do exactly what you are told
Yeah.
to do. Nothing else.
True.
You don't have an opinion. You're just, and it's required.
It's required.
It's required.
That's what I wanted to say.
It's absolutely, you can't do anything else. If I tell my soldier,
Yeah. To jump.
you see that area over there, those 4 blocks.
Yeah.
I want that spick and span. If my soldier says, "Oh, I want to make him happy," instead of doing 4, I'll do 6. He'll feel happy. That guy is screwed.
True.
He's gonna be
Absolutely true.
penalized so severely that next time he will never ever do. And I went for one interview, okay?
The same Air Force one?
Yeah, same
Okay.
Air Force one. So they came for like recruitment. So somebody said, so they were asking, so why do you want to join the Air Force? My answer was silly. I said, to wear the white uniform, right?
That's
They
Navy. Okay.
said, no, that's Air Force.
Air Force also
White-
white.
white,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, the white and black. Got it.
No, complete white, I think. Air Force is complete white. Okay, I don't know.
Maybe,
It's
yeah,
been
it's
a
Navy,
couple of
sorry.
years. So they said, why don't you just go to a tailor and stitch white? I said, that's a good point. But anyway, there's another guy who stood up. They said, why do you want to join the Air Force? He said, because I'm an engineer. I want to invent something. I want to create something. I want to improve things. He said something, listen, that's all bullshit. That doesn't happen. You cannot invent anything. You cannot create anything.
True.
You just bloody do your job.
True.
There's no invention. You cannot go there and innovate. Forget about it. So that field, I realized, wasn't for me.
True.
I would die there, man. It would be so torture every day,
No,
to be under such control
Yeah,
situations.
yeah, absolutely. And it's not easy for everyone,
Yeah.
of course. And unfortunately, the army or the defense forces have to function like that.
They have to. They have to.
Otherwise, we would all be in trouble.
Right,
So what we can
exactly.
do is just respect.
No. I respect
And-
them. And as I said, it's absolutely required. Like sometimes I tell Abhishek also, Abhishek, do this, no? And this fellow, he does something else. I get so annoyed. But then even I realize there's so many times where people tell me do this and I do something a little extra or a little less or whatever. But in the defense, you can't have that.
You can't do
It's because lives matter on you. And
Yeah.
so now 3
Lives
of my... Alvin, Preethraj were my really good friends. Both of them are in the defense. And my friend Alvin is like a totally bubbly guy, full of energy, jumping all the time. Now he's in the defense. He has to be so controlled. You know, I'm like, man, hats off to him for controlling himself so much.
Yep.
You know, and my friend Preethraj also there. Like, it's a tough life, man.
It
the
is.
defense.
It is.
And hats off to them. They're amazing. And I'm blessed to have friends like them. You know.
Yeah, very much. And
You know,
defense is-
when my first podcast came out, my friend Alvin, he gave me a proper list, you know, these 7 things you can do to improve your podcast. And I was so appreciative. So I don't know if you know this now, but in the defense, you're not allowed to be on social media.
Oh, I'm
You're not allowed
sure.
to be on social media at all. So he's not on Facebook, Instagram, nothing. So the only way he gets to know I release podcasts is because of my WhatsApp status. So they're allowed to use WhatsApp. So thanks, Alvin. I really appreciate that. So where are we?
Love you.
So, so now you're in this kind of like aggregator space for creatives.
Yep.
What inspired you? Did literature start off with that plan, or
No, very interesting thing happened. I after my agency,
right?
I ran another product in between. So we developed a platform for animal lovers. It was a social network for animal lovers.
Okay.
We developed it for 2 years. You know, things didn't go so fine, but we created an amazing product. At the end of that, after 2 years, you know, I literally lost all my money. I was down to my basics. And I didn't know what to do because unfortunately the product didn't go through very well, though the product was good. And I didn't know what to do at that moment, you know, because everyone else who was involved with the product found something.
Right.
I was the one who was like unemployable, man, because I've got this advertising weird breaks in career. Of course, I've developed, but if I go to a job, people may not want me.
Right.
Okay, because they can't put me anywhere, or either I'm over experienced sometimes. I tried answering a few interviews, but there was one fellow who said something good to me. I almost got through as a product manager or product lead or something like that, but he said, okay, you've been an entrepreneur, okay, things didn't go well, it's okay, but do you think you can come and work again? Because I'm looking at a long-term person.
Right.
Says because once you have tasted that entrepreneurial journey, it's very difficult to come down and do a job.
Correct.
Because you will always be bursting with ideas. How will you handle that?
Right.
Right. So he said, think again. Like, here's the offer letter, but think again. That kind of triggered me. I said, okay,
Think
TK,
again,
let
okay.
me go home and check it out. I went home. After 2 days, I called him. I said, yes, you were right. I don't think I can make it. Okay. But yes, one of the job I left, but I still don't know what to do.
Right.
This is where karma comes into play. There was somebody who I had trained a few years ago, is now sitting in a position in some company,
Right.
okay, taking care of something what I'm doing right now. And one random person, okay, who I've still not met him, in Bangalore, connected with me, and he said, Naresh, listen, this company is trying to do something like this. Would you want to do it with me? I said, chalo, theek hai. I'm anyway doing nothing. I'm looking for the next opportunity.
Right.
I've never met that guy again. But because he said that, I said, okay, but this company, there's a junior of mine working. So I just connected with him. I said, what's going on? Can I do this? And he said, yes, you can also do it. And I know you. I said, theek hai, chalo. So I set up whatever was needed. I picked up a few photographers from around. And I started off. I took up their contract of one city.
Right.
Of providing pictures regularly. Then he said, okay, go to another city. I'm like, another city, how do I go?
Right.
But I did that. Somehow I recruited there. I recruited there. And this is how we grew. This is how literature started.
Amazing.
I didn't even have the name literature in my mind. I was like, he said, give me a name for your company. I can't call it Naresh Photography.
Yeah.
Right? I said, theek to hai. And being from advertising, I'm good with names.
Yeah, I love
you
your
know, like,
love the name.
yeah, there's literature. Even before that, the product was called Talians.
Oh, really? So
I'm really good
you
with
call
names.
these things products, like, right? Literature is a product.
Literature is not a product. Literature is a company.
Oh, no.
We have
I mean,
products under
then
that.
what were you referring to as product?
The social network for animal lovers,
Oh,
right? So it was called Talions.
wow.
Like
So that was your company?
it was my company. It was
Wow.
my thought, my idea. I had a partner who coded the whole thing. At one point, our chat engine was better than WhatsApp at one point. Now WhatsApp is better, of course.
Whoa.
Okay, but that time we were much better. When Mithun, if you're looking at this, the guy is working for Facebook.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome, man.
So that's what happened.
Right.
And then we were like, okay, take care. This is working. The demand is there. There is a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
So we started building literature
Right.
manually.
Uh-huh.
There was no product. There was no technological piece and all that.
Right.
Okay, so we gathered more than 500 photographers. We trained them. I trained the first 50 to 60 of them personally, to execute projects. And we were like, we were killing it, because a very unique combination about me is I'm creative. I can understand creative execution, and I am a little bit of management.
Right.
Okay, I'm not an MBA, but I'm a little bit of management. I understand how to manage. So this combination was very easy to build a company where photographers trust you. Today, talk to a photographer. The major problem is trust.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't trust the clients.
Either they don't trust the clients don't trust them. Somebody is not trusting somebody. Okay, there is nothing like, okay, this is a photographer or this is a video guy, and if I give him an assignment, he will do it well. Now, it's not about doing well. This is where we get stuck. We only try to overachieve or hit the bullseye.
Right.
It's about being responsible. Accept a mistake. It happens, no problem. But accept it, fix it, move ahead. That's what clients love, because clients also make mistakes.
Right.
It's okay. But when usually what happens with the creative people, because they're tuned in a different way, they are not able to take feedback.
Right.
Most of the time. If somebody goes and says, okay, this photograph is not good,
You feel like it's a personal
you feel
insult.
like it's a personal attack.
How could you? This
How
is my
could you?
art.
I've studied for so long. I have done this. I have learned at LNL or Shari Academy or Boston School. How can you say my pictures are bad?
Right.
But just understand, if the client is not able to sell
Right.
with whatever you have created,
Uh-huh.
how can somebody just sit and appreciate your art?
I agree. That day you spoke about. So I have this former friend of mine who says that, man, we are artists. He's a wedding photographer. Man, we are artists, and we have to create art at a wedding.
True.
I'm like, I don't fully agree with that. See, you said something very interesting about Van Gogh. Can you speak about that?
Van Gogh. Okay, I don't know much about him. I know Van Gogh was a great painter.
Right.
And I know his story. I don't know the genuinity, but till the time he lived poor.
Yep.
And his art was discovered by somebody in a room, and then today it's selling for crores.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Now, just imagine Van Gogh, his life, and if he kept saying that, yeah, nobody's buying my painting.
Right.
Would he have created so many artworks? He created it for himself. He didn't have an expectation. Probably he tried to make some money. We don't know, because he was literally a lost character in the society. But today when we see, man, his thought process was so deep.
Right.
And that is what we pay money for.
Right.
Right. So Van Gogh was a fine artist. If we are, okay, now this brings to the next level. If you're a fine artist, you create work for yourself.
I'm also a fine man, okay? I'm just kidding.
Fine man is different. You create work for yourself, and then you figure out if somebody wants to buy it.
Yeah.
But you can't go like you bought this painting.
Right.
Okay, because you liked it.
Right.
Right? Imagine you had commissioned this lady to make a painting for you.
Yeah.
probably you wouldn't have liked it.
Correct. So true.
Because it doesn't fit your senses.
Yes.
Like you have a picture and you need an artist.
Like how can she read my mind? Impossible.
There is a way. Now I can talk about that later.
That is where you come in.
Yeah. So you either decide whether you want to be a fine artist or you want to be a commercial artist. If you want to be a fine artist, nothing wrong with it. Be a fine artist like Prabhuda Dasgupta, one of the great photographers of India. Right? I've heard stories about him. Like he would just make stuff for himself, and people loved that. People loved to pay for his thought.
Right.
Okay, even if it was a commissioned work.
Right.
But when you're talking about, let's say, I want my product to look like this, you better do it that way, man, because you are being commissioned, hired because of your expertise to solve a problem for somebody.
Right.
You can't go there and say that, no, this is my way of doing it and this is the only way to do it.
Yes, and this is what I had a problem with. So this guy kept on saying, I'm a wedding photographer, but I'm an artist. So I said to him, if you're creating an art, it's for you, right? It's like, yeah, my work is so important to me. I said, then do it for free. Come to Goa, I have a shoot for you. Like, no, I have to charge. So I said, okay, charge for your expenses. Come to Goa. Like, no, I charge this amount. I said, that's not your expenses. Your expenses is not that.
True.
So, we have to understand, boss, we're doing this for the money.
Correct.
All right?
Absolutely right.
You're not a bloody artist.
No,
Here's the thing. No, hold on. Here's the thing.
Just change your words. Don't say bloody artist because we may get into controversy here. This is really controversial.
Yeah, that's why
a
I'm
lot
not
of times. I mean, before coming on this podcast and before getting into this section of what we're going to talk, I have had a lot of thoughts in my mind because I understand creatives. I understand which part of them may go wrong, what they may think.
No. So hold on. Let me finish this. So this is what I heard about from his colleagues who hired him. I'm not going to take his name. I respect him. God bless you. But this is what his colleague spoke. This person, let's call him Mr. X, right? Mr. X was hired for a wedding, all right? And Mr. Y is the person who referred him. And Mr. Y has Mr. Z as his friend, who is the father of the bride.
Right.
Okay. Mr. Z told Mr. Y, I'm so upset with Mr. X.
Right.
This fellow, we are trying to have a wedding, we are trying to party, we are trying to celebrate. He comes with first himself, then with 2 lighting assistants, and telling the bride, do this while you're dancing. He just made this thing about him.
True.
And Mr. Y told me, the wedding is for the couple. The wedding is not for the photographer.
That's right.
That's not your art playground, my friend. You come there to do a job. And I said, for various reasons, that I will never get into wedding photography. But I am thinking, if I find the right partner, and if I find the right understanding with the clients, I may get into it. May. But, as I said, the wedding is for the couple, it's for the family to enjoy. It's not for your, fearless photography awards. I want to create art. I am here as an artist. You're there to do your job, man. Just do your job. Let the couple enjoy. Let the family enjoy. That's what you're there for. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. In this case, see, you can find an opportunity to create art.
Yes, find
rather than staging an opportunity to create art.
So true.
So this is where people are not, it's not that Mr. X's mistake as well. Nobody has taught somebody how to deal with a normal society.
Right.
Right. Now, when we are creatives, we kind of separate ourselves. Like the army and the defense called early civilians and army. Similarly, we are also like that. We say, look, we are creative guys and you all are civilians. Fair enough. That difference exists. But you are creative guys and your execution or your art is purchased by those civilians. Right. You don't live without selling something to them.
Right.
Correct? Even if you want to make like what Van Gogh did, he didn't care about it. Fair enough. That's how he is today. Okay. But if you're going to say that, okay, I'm going to make it and you are supposed to like it,
That's
then we have a problem.
Right.
Now, I'm exaggerating a few words here, but this is what the thought goes in every creative's mind. And it's not your mistake. Let me also clear that. It's not your mistake.
I love this guy, man. He's
Right?
like, you're great. I need to spend more time with you.
No, frankly, nobody has taught us how to deal with it.
Mm.
And nobody has taught us, see, you understand creatives, but nobody taught you to understand a regular, right? So what do? You end up thinking that he's also creative.
Right.
And then you push your ideas on them. You say that, oh, this is a basic thing you don't understand. That's what screws up a lot of things.
So, I really like what you said about that. But let's go on to the next question, right?
Sure.
So in your journey to this point in your life, has media, the power of photo, video, articles helped and promoted you? And that's kind of silly because you are in the visual creative field. So, but still, I have to ask it. Tell me
Yes,
about
of
it.
course. Now it depends on where, how. Like nobody would hire a creative guy without looking at the work.
Portfolio, yeah.
Right? There's a portfolio. There's a work. So I can't show my certificate. I can't even show a photograph of my certificate. I have to show something that I have done before.
Right.
And only then you find a job,
Right.
But of course, but I have not been a great publisher per se. So,
Yeah,
no,
you
I
were telling
can't-
me
yeah,
that
I don't do
you're
that.
not doing so much work, but it's not going
Not
out
going
there until
out there,
recently.
Because see, whatever I'm talking about, it's not that I'm not the Sachin Tendulkar, man. I've also had failures. I've gone through that. I have also been people have said, okay, your work is not good. And what went on in my mind at that moment is what you're learning over here. That's what literature is made up of.
Right.
Right. So if you look back on my thing, okay, you won't find a lot of internet news about me or anything like that, because that is what I didn't do. And that is the reason what all you can lose by not doing that is what is being capsulated now. And I'm trying to teach people.
After this sponsored message, we are going to get into a very interesting topic, and that is the prime reason to have you here.
Sure.
We have something amazing planned together. So let's get into that. But before we get into the sponsored another short question is, what are some of the hurdles you faced? But these hurdles helped you to get this this point.
I think I'm living on hurdles only. So what are some of the straight roads you faced is an easier question for me to answer.
Oh, same here, man. That's
Right.
such a good point.
Because when things are smooth, you don't realize it's smooth.
Right.
It's only when there's a pothole you realize that the road is bad. So
Man, story of my life.
everybody's life. To be frank, it's everybody's life. Now you decide. See, when you overcome a hurdle, the pride you feel,
Right.
like wow, I could do it,
Yeah.
is bigger fun, is much interesting than driving for like 100 kilometers without. How many? Let's say, me and my wife, we travel a lot
Right.
in the car. So we don't remember those trips
Smooth
where
roads.
things were okay. We found the food
Yeah.
and
yeah,
everything
yeah,
was good.
yeah.
We remember those things where the AC broke down in the middle of 44 degrees. We ended up on the wrong spot somewhere, and it was too dark. That's something we remember.
Yeah,
man.
so true, man.
And that's something that teaches you.
Yes.
Okay. So I really don't remember which were the best roads today. So
I was thinking
how do I
about
say
it.
about hurdles? Yeah.
Yeah. I think when you are a person who has gone through a lot,
Yep.
a lot of pain, a lot of struggle, a lot of mistakes, a life that you wouldn't want somebody else to go through,
Yeah.
versus a person who has had a pretty standard and straight cut and ideal life.
Yeah.
If you compare person A who's struggled and gone through a lot of trouble, and you compare person B, I have noticed that person A is more relevant to this world, because it's very rare that you find ideal situations in many people's lives.
Their ideal situation has come out because somebody has gone through the hurdles.
That's so good.
Right.
That's so good.
So, and it's good to be there.
Yes.
A lot of people enjoy that.
Yeah.
So, when
Like what you're saying is, like in my, how I understood is, person B has gone through an ideal
Life,
situation
yeah.
or life because probably person B's parents went through a really bad time,
Probably, yeah.
and they made sure that person B has a better life.
at least doesn't have the same challenges.
Yes,
They will have
so
new
true,
challenges.
man. It's so true about my parents, about my wife's parents, and it's
Everyone,
amazing.
rather. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone. So that's how you look up to a hero, right?
Yes.
Like it could be a religious hero or a business hero, your field. Somebody is a hero for you,
Right.
right? Now, why is that person a hero? Because they have done something
Yeah.
in their life which you look up to.
Right.
And
right.
probably you have fixed it even before that happened to you,
Yep.
right? So hurdles are, I mean, I don't know how to answer that question. Like, I'm looking for hurdles.
Awesome. So, the next segment is going to be very interesting because Naresh is one of the few people in this business. And in the end, guys, photography, video production, this has to be a business. You got to make a living out of it.
True.
And he's a person with such immense knowledge, and I'm going to ask him about that. So now it's time for the sponsored message. Let's go on to that. Have you ever thought of starting your own podcasts? Well, let me tell you something. It is not very difficult. You have amazing tools out there that allow you to do it for free. And you have your best friend, your mobile phone, right with you all the time. You just need a little bit of guidance and you can start your very own podcast. I have to be honest, ever since we started this podcast, it's been amazing. And the reason is because this podcast is meant to give. This is something that Winfluence Media does to give back to society. And whenever you give, it always comes back. It's a rule. It's a rule of life. You give and then you get. You have knowledge, you have expertise, you have experience, each and every one of you, that can be a great blessing to many people out there. And one of the primary reasons I started this podcast is because I keep on saying to myself, man, I have such amazing conversations with such amazing people, but I am the only one privileged to listen to them. So why don't we have these conversations in front of the camera so that the whole world can benefit from it? In your industry, if you start a podcast, believe me, you are going to be an influencer. And business is all about influence. If you want to start a podcast, get in touch with Winfluence Media. We can consult, we can guide you through it, we can set up a studio for you. Ever since we started this podcast, we are in talks with now 3 clients. One we've already started setting up the studio for. Amazing things are starting to happen. But it all starts with that first step. Be a giver. Start a podcast. Educate your clients. Educate the world around you. Teach. Share your experience. So if you want to start a podcast, get in touch with Winfluence Media. We will guide you through the whole thing. From A to Z, we are here for you. If you want to get in touch with us on our email, videoproductiongoa@gmail.com, or you can WhatsApp me personally on my personal number and my business number, 7083-401-793. Winfluence Media, media that wins. So Naresh, now is time for the Tandoor Round. You've already gone through this, but this is going to be even worse because this is the full version. This is not the pop-up podcast version.
Okay.
By the way, there's a pop-up podcast that we also do where we come to an event and we interview entrepreneurs.
And it's interesting. It's really interesting. He did it at my previous event.
Yeah. Tell me
It was
about
nice.
that, your experience. How was the pop-up
I was
podcast?
tired, man. I mean, okay, frankly, I've never been interviewed so much.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this is the phase of life where a lot of people are asking me my opinion.
Right.
Okay. Say 2 years ago, probably nobody cared, or maybe they didn't know that I have something to offer.
Yeah.
So as simple as that. But in the last maybe 1.5 year, I've answered at least 8 to 10 interviews.
Nice.
Small, big.
I think even yesterday you
whatever.
were on a phone call with.
Yes, so some
Yeah.
magazine. Yeah.
Nice. No, but I wanted to know what was the public's response to the pop-up podcast? Because I never got to ask you. What did people say? Because I know your wife said some very nice things.
Yes, my dad showed it to the
Oh,
whole
yeah?
family, and
Wow.
yeah, it's probably people are getting interested in knowing what I do right now.
Lovely.
So let's see where we reach. People liked. See, my ideas are a little different, but I feel everybody has it in their mind, but they are scared to speak. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not any unique. I'm not doing anything unique.
No. So, yeah, we're going to get to you in a bit.
Yeah. So when I speak, what
Not
I'm trying
that.
to come to is, in that podcast, they understood that okay, this man has something to offer.
No, what I was asking is, what was the crowd's reaction to the format of the pop-up podcast? Meaning, short interview.
Got it.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't very. I'm not sometimes good at conveying the question.
Frankly telling you,
Yeah.
I don't want to fake it. I don't know.
You don't.
Okay.
This is typically you.
Yes, if I don't know, I don't know. I'm very open about that. But I can ask people
Yeah,
now.
please do.
and
I'd
will-
love feedback.
Surely, yeah.
I'd love
It
feedback.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I should have asked.
All right, no problem. So let's go on to the Tandoor round. The first question is, what's your favorite dish? Like to eat?
Doesn't change. Caramel custard
Caramel custard. Yeah.
made by Sneha.
Lovely. Yeah, I actually asked you this. Now I forgot. By the way, if you want to watch the pop-up podcast version of the Tandoor round of Naresh, you can go on the channel. It's there. Pop-up podcast. All right. Preferred musical genre type of music you listen to?
I like Kishore Kumar.
Kishore Kumar.
Okay. I like soft Indian music.
What is soft Indian music?
I don't know, man. I'm not so good at music. I just
Yeah.
like some music. I listen to it.
Makes sense.
So if you ask me who made that, what is the genre, I may not know.
Yeah.
But I like country
That's fine.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, Western country. I like some of them. But don't ask me who. Like I love the La Bamba song.
Oh.
I just love it. I mean, I don't know why I like it, but it reminds me of all my friends.
Really?
4 best friends that I have.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it reminds me because they used to play that song,
Okay.
and that's why I like it. And I've played it whenever I miss them. I play that song.
You know, the La Bamba song, I used to watch it as a kid. We had a VHS, I think,
Yeah,
with it.
the tapes.
And I don't know. I think the music video was like on a stage on a ship or something.
Maybe. Yeah, I've never
I
seen.
don't
the
remember,
video.
man. You made me recollect this song after like decades. I'm not that old also, but still a very long
But
time.
yeah.
Okay.
So guys, if you're listening to it, I love the La Bamba song because of y'all.
Okay. You can name them also if you want.
Clive, Ashley, Neil, Naresh.
Awesome. Naresh. There's another
Another
Naresh.
Naresh. This is, yeah.
Okay. So I know you don't read a lot of business books,
Yeah.
but we're going to get into the
Yeah,
conversation
sure.
even deeper later. But what business advice would you give to somebody? In short, because this is the Tandoor round. It's short.
Wow. Okay. I always wanted to say this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Always wanted to say this. There is a movie, Kung Fu Kid.
Kung Fu Kid?
Kung Fu Kid, Jackie Chan.
Yeah, yeah.
And Will Smith's son.
Right, right.
And there is a karate. It's a remake of the Karate Kid.
Correct.
Right. Karate Kid is an awesome stuff. But in Kung Fu Kid, there is one statement which Jackie Chan makes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, he just holds the kid and is like, Kung Fu could be everywhere. You could be cooking, you could be doing music. Kung Fu is the way your life blends into whatever you're doing.
It's like a way of life, is it?
It is a way of life. But the way he says it, he like, everything is Kung Fu.
Mm.
I like to say, everything is business. Now, before anybody makes thought about it, everything is business. Even nature is business. You give something, you get something. It's not always about money. It's always an exchange. If you ignore the exchange, you don't get anywhere. There's no satisfaction.
Right,
Just look at it.
right.
You could be donating, but why are you donating? In exchange for peace of mind,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So you could be doing something for somebody in exchange for maybe pride. maybe for that appreciation.
Right.
So everything is business. If you better look at it that way. Business is not bad.
Yep.
As the way, a lot of movies are making it look. Oh, he's a businessman. He could be bad.
Mm.
No, but he's giving jobs to people.
Right.
People are living out of him.
Yep.
Just think like that, and everything is business. Like everything is business.
धंधा है भाई.
धंधा है. Genuinely करो. धंधे के लिए don't spoil other things.
Yeah.
But do the धंधा यार. Why not?
Love it.
Yep.
That's some good stuff. I'm going to make a reel about this. Okay, so what advice would you give on self-development? Maybe, see, like we are speaking to creative entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give on self-development?
Um,
I think
you're
you've
in the
already
illusion.
given-
You're in an illusion that you've done it. You're already there,
Mm.
but you're not even half full. It's
Okay.
always growing. You cannot stop developing yourself.
Mm. So true.
Maybe you jump to another building and you still keep climbing.
Yeah.
You keep climbing. There is no tallest mountain in this line. You are always developing till the last breath.
Yeah. I like that because just the other day I was speaking to someone
Yeah.
who told me, I'm too big for this organization. Like, I'm like, but he's achieved a lot in life,
Yeah,
this
fair
person.
enough, yeah.
He's achieved a lot, he's done a lot. But when I started really looking into it and I looked at how good this organization is at certain aspects, and I looked at this person who said that I'm too big for this organization, I said this person could learn so much from this organization. But because he thinks he's too big for it,
He stopped it.
he stopped.
Stopped.
So yeah, I love that. I love that. You could always grow.
Yeah, always grow. I mean, because you're living, right? And till the time you leave this planet, you're living. And so you're always learning something. You're developing yourself.
Yep. I used to have this favorite quote which I kind of forgot. I think I wrote it on Orkut. You remember Orkut?
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah,
remember.
so I think I wrote it there because they had like a questionnaire, what's your favorite quote? And I forgot the quote. I don't know who said it, but it goes something like this. To be alive, you need to keep on learning.
True.
The day you stop learning, you become a dinosaur. Extinct. Irrelevant. Dead and gone.
Perfect.
Fossilized.
Perfect.
So I don't want to become a dinosaur. My kids love dinosaur. Dinosaur. And I act like a dinosaur.
I'll take that home today.
Awesome. So who are the type of people you like to be around?
I like to be around almost everybody who has something to offer, and fortunately everyone has something to offer. So I remember you asked me this question and you said don't be political about it. I'm being absolutely genuine about it.
Oh my gosh.
I am, and unfortunately it's going to look like this, that I'm being politically right.
Come on. Naresh.
I have
There
to.
are always people. Okay, I'll go to the next question then.
Who you don't want to be around?
No, wait, who do you not like to be around?
Someone who doesn't believe in himself.
Someone who doesn't believe. Okay.
If someone who doesn't believe in himself will not believe in me, he's only going to look at negatives. Maybe I'll take a few negative tips from him and walk off. That's all I
That's okay, good. Yeah. That's good. Because the last time I asked you this on the podcast, you gave me some
I said I was
politically
tired.
correct answer. Yeah.
No, but it wasn't
That's
politically
fine.
correct.
You're forgiven for being
thank you.
non-genuine.
Thank
Now you're genuine at least. Okay. Name a time that you were hurt by something someone said. And now let's not bring your wife into this because
I didn't say that.
No. I'll tell you why I said that. It's because I asked you a very important question last time and you said, sometimes I don't go home on time. Some people get hurt.
Yeah. That's a very serious problem for me. But yeah, fine.
Let's not talk about our wives.
Okay, fair enough.
Marriage relationships are like so complicated.
True. So say the question again.
So, name a time you were hurt by what someone else said.
Maybe to me or to anybody.
To you. Let's say to you. Except your wife.
It doesn't reach me. That's the problem. Like you say anything to me. I will just step back. I may be a little disturbed, but I'll look at, okay, did that happen? I'm ready to apologize and I move on. Seriously, I'm not.
So you're
kidding.
like thick-skinned.
And you want to call me that? Fine. You can call me thick-skinned. But no, it
Or you're more
penetrates.
analytical.
It's more analytical. It penetrates. I check it out. And then maybe it's over that day. But yeah, I have had a few people who I will never talk to again in life. That's like 2-3 people only.
Right.
Don't want to take it because those people will know about it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's
so, but it's very difficult to do that with me. And if that happens, it's gone for life. So that's
Recently,
why,
let's not talk
yeah,
about it.
it's too negative.
So, okay, now this is the last question, okay?
Okay.
What is something people don't like about you? Now, I asked you this last time also, okay? Please don't give me the same answer, please.
Those people should be telling me what they don't like about me.
I think you only said what some people don't like about you yesterday night. Okay, let's not talk about that also. Thinking time. Thinking.
I'm sure there are a lot of things people don't like.
What is the most politically correct thing I could say at this
No,
moment?
no, I'm not
under
thinking.
pressure?
Frankly, I'm not. Please trust me. I'm not thinking that. I'm trying to figure out what is it that people don't like about me, which I should say in maybe one sentence about it.
So you're saying you don't know?
I don't know.
So you're saying
And that could be a problem, and that could have raised something that I need to go and work on. Figure out what people don't like about me.
Yeah. Because every day I am confronted with, well, not every day, but quite often I am confronted with things that people don't like about me. And I have to figure out how do I, like just yesterday, for example. So yesterday my dad is saying, Ryan, you need to go for some course in soft skills. And the ironic thing is, my dad is almost or probably more brash than me and more insensitive than me. And I said, Chalo, you and I, let us go for that soft skill course together and you sponsor it because you are my father. It's your responsibility. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone has good things. Everyone has bad things. And one thing that I recently am learning is that even if somebody does something bad to you, it's good that we still respond to them with grace. And the word grace is really powerful. It means undeserved favor.
Yep.
And I want to be a person of grace because I've seen in my life, I have done so many things, but I have still received favor. I've done so many things that are wrong, but I have received favor. So why can't I give somebody else that favor, True. So, yeah, learning things in life. But that was the Tandoor Round.
Thank you. I'm still thinking what people don't like about me, man.
Good. We will explore that
I need to explore
another
that.
session.
I'm so sorry I couldn't answer that.
That's fine. There's one statement, know thyself.
Yeah.
I don't know where it comes from, but it's like such a simple line, know thyself. I think it comes from the Vedas or something.
I'm not sure, but wherever it comes from, it came from nature and it's an amazing line.
Know thyself. Yeah, I think we all have to really explore ourselves in a way to understand why we are certain ways. And it's interesting. Like I try to analyze myself also and I come up with some interesting theories,
If at all I get on this kind of podcast again with you, I would want you to keep that question. I hope I have my answer then.
Yeah. God willing, we will have another episodes maybe in a few years, but from now.
Yeah, sure, of course. Whenever. Maybe you change a few formats and...
No, I know.
That questions actually disturb me now.
It's disturbed you?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding. If anybody can read faces, you can see it on my face right now. Body language. You can see it. I'm lost.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not kidding. And I'm not faking anything. I'm literally lost. So I need to answer that question. Maybe I'll come back and answer only that question.
Yeah, maybe. I can give you also.
Please tell
I
me.
could
one.
give you some answers. Not
Yeah.
now, later.
What you don't like about me?
No, later. No. But you know what I love about you, Naresh, is that it's very refreshing to meet a person who understands that, boss, there's a business side to photography. It's not just art.
True.
And I love what your company is doing. Y'all train photographers for a particular task, let's say food photography. We have an SOP. We train you in this SOP. You follow it. You kind of run it. And as I think, like how we were talking about the defense, where you have to do it a certain way. I think you run it that, and it's very important to run it like that, because even SOPs, like for example, for this podcast also, we have a book.
Yep.
It has SOPs, standard operating procedures, and it's still not perfected because I have written right now 2 points that we need to add to the SOP.
True.
You know, so we're going to do that. Having SOPs is so important. So you've developed SOPs, you have trained the photographers to do exactly that, and you provide them work, and you take on the task of dealing with the client, which sometimes can be the most annoying and the most irritating thing. And you know what? We're going to have a workshop about this. And can you talk about that workshop we're going to do?
Okay, so when let's say somebody hires you
Right.
for an assignment, so I usually give this parallel example of a doctor,
Right.
right? So consider the artist is a doctor,
Right.
and the client is the patient,
Mm.
right? Why does a patient come to the doctor?
Because the doctor knows what he's doing.
No, maybe we need to set things right here. With a problem,
Oh, with a problem.
right? With a
Yes.
problem
Yeah.
in their body.
And the patient understands that this is the guy who knows what he's
Who
doing.
knows what he's doing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you come to the doctor and you're going to tell him, listen, I have a pain here, and this is the injection you're supposed to give. This is the place you're supposed to give.
Yeah, yeah.
Then the doctor's going to get annoyed,
Right.
right? He's like, okay, if you know everything, here is the card of a nurse who can give you that injection exactly
Right.
the way you want.
Right.
But the reason you've come here is because you have a pain here, and now it's my job to analyze why that pain exists. And then maybe the pain is just it's a representation of
Right.
some bigger problem,
Right.
right? So who's capable of figuring that out?
Mm.
It's the doctor,
Right.
right? Now cut to our line.
Right.
So client comes to you, says that, listen, I have this product or this interior. Let's talk about an interior assignment.
Right.
I have this villa,
Mm.
and I need to sell it on Airbnb.
Right.
Okay. Now, what's the problem? So we replace the problem with a requirement. I need pictures going on Airbnb so that Airbnb can sell my space.
Mm.
Right? Selling my space is what is the requirement. Okay. Now, let's say you go to a photographer
Right.
or an artist, and you say, okay, because you know how to make my space look beautiful, I have come to you.
Right.
It's the job of the artist now to make sure that the space looks in a certain way, the way Airbnb can sell it.
Correct.
You can't tell the client that, listen, your space is not good, or your space is super good. So you should be, there are SOPs maintained by Airbnb,
Right.
right? Airbnb, I'm taking this name for example's sake only. So
Airbnb, don't sue this podcast.
yes, please. May I have the permission? So if Airbnb or any other BNB for that matter gives you a statement saying that, okay, we address this kind of clientele, so we need pictures like this.
Right.
Okay. So might as well the photographer goes and shoots exactly the way it can be sold. Now, where does the mistake happen? Guideline based work
Right.
is a lot in the market.
Is a lot.
Lot. Because
When you say
look
it's a lot, means there's a lot of
there's a
requirement
lot.
for
Yeah,
guidelines.
look at the market today.
Right.
It's completely digital.
Right.
Right? Now I'm just talking about interior. Then we are talking about food. There's e-commerce. There's something. These guys, see, there's no creativity here.
Mm.
Right? There is a sales related product to be captured, but only you can do it. You can't expect a client to go take a camera, set the lighting and do it, right? Because you can do it.
Right.
He's come to you. And now you need to go solve it for him. Right? If he can't sell his space on maybe Airbnb or wherever, it's useless.
Yeah, so true.
It's useless. And then you're going to create a negative impact in the client's mind about, not just about you, about the whole photography community. Because he's going to think that it's difficult to explain to these guys, man.
So true.
So now who's gone wrong? Is the client wrong? No. Is the photographer wrong? No.
Right.
Okay. It's just the match that doesn't happen. Right? So a photographer has never been trained to understand sales. That's what happens with a lot of experience. But this lot of experience, you're left, you figure it out. There's no institution who's actually teaching you that. They teach you interior photography, the best way to do it. But they don't teach you, what needs to be, what can be sold. What is it that people like to see on a photograph so that they can buy the property or rent it out or whatever.
So recently I had a very interesting experience. And so I met with a client and give them my first cut, right? And they had some feedback with regards to that. And then based on that feedback, I realized what I should have been doing.
True.
And what their feedback is beautiful. And that's when I realized, for a video production job, it is highly beneficial to work as a team.
True.
Not do it on your own. You know how we are currently working with Datta?
Yep.
See, there's no argument about who can do better and all that.
True.
But just because Datta is concentrating on the macro vision, like the overall vision, I can concentrate on the technicalities of the camera.
True.
But if I had to divide my mind between the technicalities of the camera and direction, I would probably do a really bad job. And then I said to myself, from now on, I should pitch to clients to get, even for a real estate shoot, get a director on board. I had actually pitched it, but they said, come on, Ryan, you can do it. You're very good. And by the way, I got that job because of the goodwill that developed from this podcast. You know that?
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
And this guy I think I met him once more than 4-5 years ago. But he's been following my WhatsApp status. And guys, y'all should post on WhatsApp. And not some silly forwards, right? Post something really relevant about yourself.
Related,
Business or even personal.
Got it.
I'm still, you know what? Should I give my number? I mean, you can follow me on WhatsApp statuses because that's way faster than Instagram.
Probably,
I post a lot more. It's 7083401793. That was fast.
It'll come.
It'll come. Anyway, so follow me there. And so he's been following me. And every time I look, he's there. Every day, he's there. And I'm wondering, who is this guy? I barely know him. I know I met him long time ago. Who is this hotel owner? Suddenly he calls me, Ryan, there's this job I want you to do. Please come and meet me. And I gave him a high budget. And he's like, I made a small discount in the end and gave it. But the goodwill that this podcast has developed is incredible, And I'm seeing the fruits of it now. And I believe it is now even going to lead to even bigger doors, know. So, where were we? I'm lost.
We're talking about the business part.
Yes, and the business part.
I just wanted to pick on that line. High budget. Biggest
in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. No, it's not about the opinion. What is a budget? What is a high budget? What is a small budget? It's only related to the sales. That's exactly what I was trying to say. If it's not able to sell, it doesn't work. It's useless. Okay? No matter how beautiful you've shot. It's literally useless. Okay? If you can sell, then it is useful. Now, if you can make your client sell better, that's what you are for. You are providing something. Your photographs are not selling. The property is selling. But the medium is your photograph or your video. Correct? Now, understand this. Now, we are stuck with just creating great pictures. A lot of them
Right.
have cracked that. Now those can be called successful photographers or artists,
Yeah.
because the client understands that, okay, if I hire this man and he shoots something for me, my property is going to sell. As against, if the client also believes that, okay, no, I don't have this budget, thoda sa photo chal jayega yaar, you know, at the end of it, they don't realize that maybe it's not selling because the pictures are not right. Now there are other smaller aggregator platforms where, you know, people have taken mobile pictures and posted. That also exists. I don't deny that. A lot of people do sell like that. You know, something that is selling below 5,000 in the real estate rental market need not have a great photographer coming in and shooting, you know, because it's not affordable. It doesn't make business sense. But let's say there is a property which is selling beyond 50,000. You might as well spend for it. You know, bring the right people in, make sure that it looks amazing. Now, this is where photographers need to understand the business aspect.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't understand the business aspect, you will only keep complaining about, you know, clients don't like this, clients don't understand. Simple hai yaar. It's, if the client doesn't need it, he's not going to hire you.
Right.
So business of photography or business of creatives is something that I'm going to always touch on.
That's
And
beautiful.
we're coming up with workshops with you, trying to teach people, educate them, either how to do it or what are the solutions.
Right.
It's okay if you can't do it. You don't understand numbers. It's okay because you understand other things, right? So what do you do in that case? Bring somebody else.
Yep. You know, so I think like one of the reasons that I have also decided to start this podcast was to bring value to this community of ours.
Yeah.
You know, photography, the visual artists.
Yes.
We're not talking about like painters and stuff like that. But because we always tend to think of ourselves as creating something beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? Creating something. But we sometimes, I mean, most of the time, I feel 95% of this community has not understood the business side of it really well.
No.
You know?
Most of them, yes.
Most of them, right?
Most of them.
Like, sorry. For example, just yesterday on one of my groups, a wedding photographer put on the group. We are full of photographers on that group. So like, give some love to this cute couple. And I thought to myself, man, no one cares about this couple except the couple itself.
True.
No one. And I learned this quite early in my career in this field. I went to a documentary filmmaker and I really respected him. I liked his work. He made 3-minute stories. That's his website, 3-minute stories. Something Vatsal, his name is. Really cool guy, I like you. So I went to him and I said, man, I got to meet this guy. I like what he's doing. And I love documentary filmmaking, storytelling, problem solving, and helping to communicate what a organization is doing to change people's life. I love that. And he is doing, I think I haven't followed him recently, but he's doing that. So I showed him some of my, and I was mostly like into, so even to tell a story, the cinematography part of it is important, right?
Of course.
So I was trying to show him some of my footage and some of my edits. And so what I showed him was some wedding edit. And after like 10 seconds, he's like, this is so boring. And you tend to get offended by that because, man, this is my work. This is my cinematography. This is my edit. How can you say this? But he was so right because it's about a wedding couple. Who cares about them? I mean, of course, they care. The family cares.
Yeah.
Now, please hold on.
Of course.
I know you're going to say something politically correct.
No.
But what I want to say is that story is not as important as, say, something that affects society. Like, for example, a child's life was changed because of something.
True.
Or this village was facing this problem and this particular person did something to solve that problem.
Yeah.
That is relevant in society. Not that husband and wife met each other at this point in life, fell in love, got married. No one cares.
Yeah.
I mean, how? So when this person said, give this love for this cute couple, please like this post. I was thinking, man, if you tell me do it for you,
Yeah.
I'll do it for you because you're working hard on this. But I won't do it for the couple because honestly, who cares? But if you say, hey, can you help me just like this post? I put so much
Sure.
effort. Yes, I'll do that. I'll
Be
do
straight. Yeah.
that. I mean, we have to think logically, right?
True. Absolutely.
So I went on a rant. Where were we?
So yeah, the business of photography or business of visual arts is first job is to understand its business.
Right.
That's where we were, I believe.
Right.
And I was trying to say that if it doesn't work, it's not creative. Or rather, I won't say it's not creative. It doesn't work, which means
If
it doesn't sell.
Okay, if it doesn't sell, it's not creative.
Let me not call it not creative. It could be one of the best works,
Right.
but it's useless. For that, in that situation, it's useless. Yeah, it's good for your portfolio. You can get better clients.
Yeah.
Right? That's good. But for that client, if it sells, that's what he is needing. He needs to sell.
That's so true.
So your pictures need to sell. Your videos need to sell.
Yes.
Not sell the video. It needs to sell the product.
Yes.
This is probably where again we are going wrong. We try to sell the video, man. Exactly like the cute couple.
Right.
It doesn't matter. But now, if you're going to the next couple and showing it, see, we've done this, your video is going to sell you.
Right.
But the commercial aspect of it, in a wedding photography scenario, see, we have a lot of things to talk about wedding.
Yeah,
Wedding
we'll do that at the workshop.
Yeah, sure.
Weddings
need to be worked in a different way.
Right.
I'm not saying it's bad. It is good. But the way people are working in wedding, thinking that it's one of the best businesses in photography, we have a lot to prove to you. Right?
Yeah. I mean, you said something very significant to me, which I want to share at the workshop. You said something about why it is not the most lucrative, and it totally made sense to me. In fact, after being associated with you, I've spoken to a couple of people and who are particularly only in wedding photography, videography. And I spoke this thing and they said, man, you're so right. You're so right. But we will discuss that at the workshop, and I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah. So guys, I don't know whether this workshop is going to be online. I'm considering to make it online, make it live. So people can pay for it and from wherever in the world they can watch it.
Yeah.
I'm considering it. To do that is very expensive and quite technically challenging, but it is possible. But I'll tell you what I'm planning, for this workshop. This workshop is for community building, okay? The first session is the complaining session, okay?
Yep.
Where I pass the mic around and I record everyone.
Yep.
And I ask the question, tell us, what are some horror stories of working in whatever, whether it be food photography or like I was shooting a restaurant recently and I was working with a very inexperienced young social media manager. And it just turned out to be so ugly and so annoying and I didn't get my money and I'm so angry. But you made me realize where I went wrong. And, things like that. The complaint session. Guys, if you all want to complain, if you want to vent this is the place. Come for that workshop. It's going to be held in Goa. Come for it. Pour your heart out. Give some bad words. I'll have to see whether you can give bad words or not because it may be online. I don't know. But try not to give bad. But don't reveal any client names, okay?
Yeah.
No client names.
Yeah, please
just don't be like me also. And
see, because
they
are not doing it on purpose. Nobody wants to hurt you.
Exactly. So do that. And then we have Naresh here, who's going to come in the second session. I'm going to have Naresh and a couple of other experts who are going to give us advice on how to go ahead further. Because being associated with Naresh, I have learned so much.
Okay, so I won't be giving advice. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I will be giving you the step-by-step process to solve it. Like advice is something which people don't want. Right? I didn't ask for it.
Right.
But let me prove it to you where things go wrong and what can you do to set it right.
Right.
So that's something that I can offer And that's what I've been doing. The whole basis of my company is built on that.
Beautiful.
Like people don't know, okay, yeah, fine, you told me I'm wrong, but now what do I do? I can tell you that. I can tell you what to do now.
Right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so let's get back to the normal part of the interview. I'm actually thinking of taking this question out, talking about the pandemic, because pandemic is so old now. Who cares about the pandemic? So forget that question.
Yeah.
So keys to getting more business, in short, because I think this interview has gone on really long. I love it. The content is great. And the thing is, we have a next person coming.
Yeah, I know that.
So, what's the time, by the way?
It should be.
What is the time? Oh my gosh, you don't have much time. 2:16. So, keys to getting business, in short.
Just believe that it's business first.
Powerful.
Right? So, everything will fall in place. Just believe that it's business and you're offering...
a solution?
Don't think... Those are the basics.
Right.
Unitize it.
Unitize it.
Make it a unit. That needs to be... See, you're buying something against a certain measurement. Like, you pay 10 rupees to buy one samosa.
Right.
Correct? That one is important. You don't get unlimited samosas. Okay? Even if you, for the sake of argument, if you say there's a buffet which is unlimited, no, it's only once. You can't go eat in the night.
Right.
Right? That's the unit. For lunch, you can eat unlimited. Or for dinner, you can eat so that unitize it. Most of them don't unitize it. Like recently when I was doing a workshop with somebody, they're like, I charge this much for a wedding. Unfortunately, everybody talks about weddings.
Right.
Okay, and how long do you shoot for? Anything, 15, 16 hours. That's wrong. Unitize it. Fair enough. You put it as 8 hours and then you give a discount. But make it a unit. So believe that it's a business and unitize it.
Beautiful. So we're going to talk about all of these things. We got to make notes on what we're going to talk about. We will do that later.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what are your future plans or new business opportunities you see?
See, there's a hell lot of business in the market. Okay, and we are standing somewhere trying to build a platform where people can find business. People can be trained in things which they are not otherwise getting trained on.
Right.
Like everybody can learn photography. You must have learned somewhere. I learned somewhere. You go to a school, but nobody teaches you business of art.
Yes, so true.
And that's where we stand.
Yep.
So we're trying to do everything. That is going to... we are bootstrapped right now, so we do shoots and we also need money. But that's, trust me, not my main business.
Awesome. I love it. Okay. So are there any passion projects you're working on? Something that you are doing on the side? Currently? Probably not. But no, you have a couple of plans.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
But it's all related to the same
Related to this
thing.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to teach you how to sell...
If I were to ask you, what are you passionate about in what you're doing?
I am passionate about education only.
Yes.
And job creation in this line.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. You are passionate about that, and that's why I'm really excited for this workshop.
Yeah, with so much internet penetration, I don't need to say that somebody from a village cannot do this.
Yep.
Right? So they can build a living sitting in their own town because we are getting digital.
Yep.
And there is metaverse to be seen. There is so much. There is AI, of course, but then there is going to be somebody who's going to operate that AI forever. Somebody needs to give the instructions. Right. So,
cool.
Job creation.
Cool. I was going to say the same thing. That's really beautiful, and I'm happy we are doing this podcast, and I'm happy we are associated because that's something I'm very passionate about educating, about helping people. I mean, that's what this podcast is all about, to give people the courage, the stories of other people, how they did it and how they became successful.
True.
So that's the plan. Anyway, so thank you, Naresh. We're reaching close to the end of the podcast. But if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best place for them to do that?
My phone number.
Or your Instagram or
Lightreacher _studios. That's the Insta handle. You can call us.
How do you spell Lightreacher, just for clarity? No, you know what? I'll put it in the... Yeah, it's here. Boink.
Lightreacher, not literature. So it's come out of literature, but it's Lightreacher.
Okay.
We had a very, very unique punishment for who spelled it wrong in my office.
Yeah?
They had to make tea for the whole team that day. Very
That's not
simply
bad.
stupid, but it was nice. People remember that.
Cool. So we have spoken a lot. But
Yeah.
before we close, do you have any final message for the audience?
Yes, again, I will say the same thing. It's a business. Please understand, it's really important. I'm stressing on it again and again and again. It's a business. Please understand and accept that it's a business. And business is not a wrong term.
Yep.
It's a very positive term,
Yep.
as against a lot of people the way they portray it.
So true. Well, guys, if you like this podcast, please share it. That would be great. We're trying to reach as many creatives as we can. This podcast is all about sharing our creative journey with the hope that you too would have the courage to be a creative or be an entrepreneur. Even entrepreneurs, even business people are creatives. They're creating jobs, they're creating employment, they're taking risks. That's what this podcast is all about. The creative genesis. And genesis stands for the beginning. Maybe this could be your beginning. So share this podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And thank you once again,
Thank
Naresh.
you, Ryan, for
really
this platform.
Appreciate it.
I love this platform where people are accepting whatever I'm talking.
Of course. So thank you once
Thank
again.
you.
Man. Well, that was yet another fantastic episode of the Creative Genesis podcast. What did you think about it? We post shorts and reels of these podcasts on our Instagram page, Winfluence_media, and our YouTube channel, Ryan Lobo Films. We'd love if you would subscribe to those and follow us there. That would really be amazing for us. The audio version of these podcasts are available where all podcasts are found. And if you give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, that really helps the word spread and more people will find the amazing conversations that we have on this podcast. And you never know, you could change a life. So do rate us there. That would be really amazing.